Everybody, Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outpost by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today.
Like, I'm putting all of my time into this always. And to be honest, it kind of has to work out because my academic career wasn't amazing. Video gaming is kind of all that I have. So I don't really have a lot else to put, a lot more energy to put into it. It's everything that I can.
They say, like, do what you love, and I really, really like playing Overwatch. I make fun of the game a lot and, complain about balance patches and stuff, but I really do enjoy the game. I want to make a career out of it.
So I started playing Overwatch in October 2016. That was like season 3. My first ranking ever was 900. So I started in like bottom bronze.
Playing games for money and playing games for pro and going against really good people. And it's always like a dream. Realizing that if I stick to it, this might be something I can actually do something with and be proud of.
When I was originally in Diamond, some guy in my Diamond game a while ago said, "We're never going to go pro, we're Diamond, why are we trying so hard?" And I basically said, "Screw you, I'm going to go pro."
We have now learned that we do have this potential and we need to use this. We need to continue practicing and working harder.
When you look at tier 3, a lot of us have been at the bottom of the barrel. We've been in the downs and the dumps of, the Overwatch ladder system.
I think as a team going into Trial of Champions, now we know we can do this.
Making it to Contenders Trials proves to myself that all the hard work that I'm putting into it is actually doing something.
I went to the Atlanta Reign homestand, seeing those players up on stage. That was the moment I was like, that's who I want to be. I want to do everything I can to get there.
Sigma, whoa! Oh, man, rock with a
This is W. Oh my god! The wall to set it up, they had no idea!
The Overwatch League players already made it. They're as high as you can get. They're playing for money and they're playing for clout. But for us, in Tier 3, we're basically playing for our future. If we want to make it, we have to play every match our hardest.
The unique strats that you see in Overwatch League, they all start here.
I am making this dream that I've had for so long, a reality.
At the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, is to play the best Overwatch we can against the best players we can to prove that we're the best.
Introductions, friends and enemies. We love that in 2020. We're progressive here at Elo Hell. Beyond the interesting introductions, though, we also have some very interesting games. I don't know if you guys have heard about this game. It's called Overwatch, made by Blizzard, the guys who made Warcraft and everything. Pretty cool, I hear. It's different in a way, but similar in others to other games. But it's let me tell you, it's gonna change the world. It's gonna be so different. It's gonna be so fun, and they're actually doing tournaments and stuff for it. So wouldn't you know it, Phil and I are here to actually show you some of that action. We never would have thought that we'd get here, but here we are. So yeah excited for an interesting day.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. And of course, if you're not familiar with the Trial of Champions, you hopefully have just watched the introduction video. You didn't just open it up randomly, the two of us. This is a 48-team tournament, $3,000 prize pool at the far end of that, and 2 spots in Contenders Trials. The first tournament of its kind, properly endorsed on the path to pro. Couldn't be more excited to bring it to you. Our first matchup today is going to be Aquatic Esports up against Enteku in just a little while here. So there's the schedule for today. So Anteku and Aquatic up first, and Disbanded versus Kraken. And Thibble, I could almost wish this was Aquatic versus Kraken first, just because the juxtaposition of those logos is a real thing of beauty. Like, so similar, so different, so tier 2 and tier 3 Overwatch.
Yeah, very, very strong motifs there. Full disclosure, I work for the Florida Mayhem, on the side when I'm not doing this casting thing. And they have a Call of Duty team called the Florida Mutineers. And we were always looking forward to playing Seattle, the Seattle Surge, because for that exact same reason, right? The Mutineers, this weird, like, kraken-y beast, and then the Surge, which is literally just supposed to be like the embodiment of the ocean. Their branding wasn't nearly as cool as ours, but it was very similar, and that's kind of the same goal that we're reaching towards. But it's not to be, at least today. We have Anteku versus Aquatic starting up, and it's looking like an interesting clash of styles here.
Yeah, it is. We have a couple of teams here with, for those of you that don't maybe watch this tier of Overwatch, a lot of what we have to go on, other than whether we've seen these teams elsewhere in other tournaments, is they give us a team sheet and they tell us, here's our favorite composition, here's what this player plays, here's what that player plays. And that tends to dictate how these things go. And for me, the interesting thing, starting with Aquatic Esports, is they have somebody who I believe you might fairly quantify as a Widow one-trick in the form of Eve, and that makes them a core player to the roster, but it also means like the entirety of that strategy hinges around the fact that they are just going to be playing Widowmaker.
I mean, it's not the worst idea in this meta. Double Sniper has become kind of a perfectly viable option again. It kind of cycles in and out whenever Blizzard decides to nerf Widow or not. But Widow Ashe or Widow Hanzo has been a viable play for these past couple months. So having a Widow one-trick on your team, not the worst, at least at the moment. If we start seeing some meta shifting away from snipers, Eve might find themselves in a little trouble. But in the meantime, this looks like something that Aquatic can pull off, perhaps to great success against Anteku.
Yeah, entirely likely. And I guess a lot of this matchup is going to be what that long-range hit scan matchup looks like, or whether or not Anteku can bring out a dive to fully disrupt an entrenched Widowmaker. Always tricky to pull off, particularly on the maps with the longer sight lines. And, this seems like a pretty, let's call it dive-friendly team in the form of Anteku. We do have Winston and D.Va listed as preferential tanks by the tank players. We've got a Sombra player here in the form of Biz for Anteku. So, if there was ever a setup to try and deal with that entrenched Widowmaker, it looks like Anteku might be the team for it.
Right. This brings up that clash of styles that I brought up right at the beginning. You have this double sniper sort of play, let your hit scan do the work, hold the space, hold the line, and move forward as they create space for you for Aquatic. And then for Anteku, you have this very, it's almost not quite last meta, but it's a Sombra Reaper dive. It's something that we saw kind of rise in prominence and almost as quickly fall away again, just because snipers are so strong when you really get into the level where players can actually hit their shots consistently. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be enough, this Sombra Reaper dive, to put enough pressure on the snipers and force Aquatic out of their comfort zone, because otherwise they might be in some trouble.
I have always considered myself a fan of what has, come to be known as stinky one-trick teams, and I'm not casting any aspersions that way myself. But, if I can find a team that makes a one-trick pick work out for them, then 9 times out of 10, they've got my vote. But I'm looking at this map pick here, and we're starting off on Lijiang Tower today for Control, and I'm kind of thinking long-range hit scan is maybe not the pick for this map set.
No, it has its places, and in a meta where hit scan is strong, you can make it work more times than perhaps you used to be able to, but not all the time. So I'm curious to see if either team will kind of be forced away from their more popular picks depending on maps, because the meta is often decided by maps at this stage in the game, which I think is a really cool and interesting place for the meta to be. But it means that these teams are required to be flexible. There is no one-stop shop composition. There is no GOATs. You must adapt. And if you've got a stinky Widow one-trick, they're either going to be putting in overtime to make sure they actually get value out of the hero, or they're going to get bowled over. So let's see what happens as Eve is on this Widow. They are very determined to make this work, and we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Out of the gates, Eve's going to have to stay in the back here to really be effective. Doesn't want to be playing on the front lines when you're coming into a superb brawl here. In fact, Eve taking an angle on the side here, but it's just not been quick enough with the picks here for Eve as Cammy and Polarized run down Aquatic Esports. Santos and Eve are up and alive in this fight still, but not that much longer. Eve needs to be careful not to get staggered out here, but that was a dominant first fight there for Antique.
A couple switches coming through on the tank line here, not surprising. I think a Ryan v Ryan is pretty necessary when your Widow is already kind of taking away from the frontline pressure you can put against the enemy team. Eve, to their credit, has a nice angle. Like, you had some openings available, just wasn't quite hitting the shots right there. And that caused pretty easy first fight loss.
Damage there for Biz. Just able to capitalize on the hack Reinhardt, and with the Reinhardt and the Reaper pulled out from under the composition at the table that it represents, quite quickly crashing to the floor and destroying the silverware.
Right, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go any further in that metaphor. I feel I'll mess it up. I'm just going to say that the hack from Biz was pretty good. And in general, I mean, look at the ults for the tank line here. Huge disadvantage because of that first swap, and now we have Eve swapping on McCree. I think that's sensible. I think that's the pick that you go for it. Oh no, they bubbled the Sombra. That makes them visible. Oh no.
I understand the desire to protect your teammates, but you really don't want to give them away there because Biz just had that EMP online and ready to go. Hopefully, they got the chance to reset. Cammy 2 on the ground. You get the defensive death. Blossom only gets 1. 2 for 2 trades so far. Cammy is still up and swinging. Santoris is down, and Pascal empties the entire tank in tank. Vega with the double here. They're still surging forward. The kills are coming through here for Antigu, and Aquatic Esports sent back to spawn to think about what they've done.
I mean, to their credit, good on Aquatic to go, hey, no, that was a great shatter and whatever. We could counter this if we use our ultimates right, and we're not afraid to not back down from that fight. The Death Blossom gets one, the Coalescence gets another. They at very least tried to bring that back despite the shatter. They knew they had to make something happen on that fight with the percentage ticking up. It just didn't quite work out for them. A good disengage from Antaku there, and now they're holding the point, 90% count.
Yeah, but for Aquatic Esports, it's either winnable or biddable here. They've got ults to play with. The grab is out, the sound barrier is out, the fire strike is out, and that's 2 down on the top. But a quick equalizing set of kills here. Shadow finding outcome infected, and with one final fire strike is Pascal off the point. It's a team kill, and the map will flip at 99.
I mean, I had some oohs and ahs there. That was an impressive comeback on a backs to the wall sort of fight, but it was so expensive. Look, they used the shatter, the graviton, the sound barrier. They've got the Deadeye and the Coalescence coming online, and to be fair, that's still an advantage over what Antaku has right now because they used a lot too. But I was kind of hoping they would hold on to at least one more ult because they have to hold all the way through the rest of this stage if they want to win and hold on one up. Ooh, there's a nice
Man, I kind of thought that was just like a free 5 seconds there for Aquatic, but Dusk pops his head out from behind the parapet, and that is it. The instant skull and offline for Antiku. That's going to be backing off and a resetting and a trying this one more time.
That's one fight, or one ult to win the fight, excuse me. That's about as good a value as you can ask for. The Coalescence will help them here again, but countered that fix.
Biz not able to find anything with that one. Polarized the pulse bomb into the back, doesn't find anything. Vega finds one pick, but somehow Cammy not able to survive this one. Takes a dink into the drink. Vega's still out and fragging. Santonis now over on the Tracer, looking to pour some damage into the backline. But good grief, Vega on a tear. Vega with another one. Jeez Louise, Vega with 4 in this fight alone, looking to secure the flip.
I think Aquatic really needed to try it. They got a little greedy there. They thought they were going to be able to really switch up and punish, but ultimately they needed to just stay on the point. Vega got 3, 2 of those were boosts because they overextended and opened themselves up to that angle. Now it's all they can do to stall, and it's not going to be enough. I think they can easily take this first stage of the game.
I mean, they are buying time on the point here for recontest to come in, but the recontest is 1 after 1 after 1 after 1 after 1. And whilst that does make 6, you need them all there at the same time. The grab is going to stop Eve getting that much closer. We'll find a pick, but too little, too late. 167 and taking the first point on Regen.
Right, and I respect Aquatic knowing like, hey, we're really going to have to turn it up here to bring this all the way back from 99 to 0. We need some clutch hero plays. We need to catch them off guard with our aggression. But Vega was too ready for that. 2 boots to start out that fight, and then just another like Reddit Lucio bouncing around through the window and punching someone in the face. Like, Antaku were more than prepared, knew they just had to catch one mistake from Aquatic to bring that all the way back and win that first round. Now, though, on Night Market, Eve on the Widow seems less of a throw pick. There are some long sight lines here and some great positions for them to set up, so that could be the start of something big for Aquatic.
It is the one Widow-friendly point on this map, but if we see Anteku take an early position on the point here and get into a position where Eve can't find value, and, well, back in Spawn is definitely a position where Eve can't find value, Empath finds 2 with the orb, Infected swinging through what's left, and what looked to be a really good quick adaptation on point here for Anteku, sadly, did not work out overall.
Somewhere out there, Sumito is slamming his desk and he says, that Moira got 2 kills with that orb. It's so unfair. But it's what happened. They were cleanup kills, to be fair. There was a lot going on in that fight, more than just Empath's orb slurping up all the enemy health bars. Eve now getting the kill on the board. I was just going to critique him for last time. He told me to shut up already.
Yeah, Eve with the opening frag. Cammy gets one back. Viz able to find a second. Vega once more featuring in the kill feed. And Eve may have got the entry frag here, but we needed at least a couple more on the back of that. Oh no, halted back into the range of the hammer, and Eve sent back to spawn, looking at a flip and a very early equalizer. Looks like we've got a case of... looks like we've got a case of Reaper back at spawn, going spawn camp, does get shattered, escapes, but may just find himself staggered out here, but Cammy's got to give up the chase. Back to point, and now suddenly the fight is engaged in proper on the point. Empath starting out things here with the Coalescence, shatter out Infected, didn't find too much, and Fizz picks up the kill with a business end of that Photon gun, and that's going to be the kills coming through for Anteku. They keep control of the point for now, though.
I am flabbergasted. That looked like the biggest throw of all time. Kami solo shatters the Reaper in front of spawn, gets nothing, is just trying to get away, charges, but there's a teleporter. And suddenly he's in the middle of 2 people. No, 4 people. And he's swinging and getting the heals. And he's killing people, and they still won that fight? That's so strange, but I love this play.
Oh my days, look at the damage potential coming out from the dusk there. Had the Matrix, had the Bongo, everyone else bunkered up behind him with the shield, and just damage for days and days and days. Pascal with a rundown, Vega on the hunt for a little more blood.
They broke the sanctity of the Lucio 1v1. There must be blood for that. I will never forgive these teams. How could you polarize, intrude on that sacred ritual? I do not understand. Kami going for the 360? What's going on here? I love this game.
Yeah, Anteku clearly a team that are feeling themselves in this matchup. Polaroids breaks out the blade, takes down Eve, and is hungry for more. His sword thirsts for souls. There's the shot. Kami catches the Roadhog, puts him on the ground. It's 94% and climbing. Biz able to take down his opposite number. Santona's down. We'll see the touchback in here by Infected at 99% to keep the point running, but there's just nobody else left in the fight level.
This game, this round specifically, felt like that one SNL sketch with Bill Hader as Stefan. There you go. Anteku versus Aquatic Esports has everything. It's got 180 shatters, long distance telecharges, solo shatters onto a Reaper at spawn, double fire strike kills, Reddit Lucios. That really had it all. That was insanity. And to Aquatic's credit, that was the 2-0 for Anteku, obviously, but to Aquatic's credit, they made it interesting, especially there on Night Market. That was a little more back and forth, just a little more than I was expecting after that first round. But Anteku also just looking very strong and not afraid to go nuts. I have no clue what's going on in their heads, but whatever it is, this is working. And it's working for me too.
Yeah, I feel like the remainder of the maps we've got here for this matchup really have a lot to live up to. That set quite the tone and quite the tempo to start things off with here today. And yeah, I think plenty more in the tank for both of these teams, particularly if we start to move to maps where I think Eve may be able to find themselves a little more value, because again, being that Widow. Well, okay, we saw them move off the Widowmaker onto the McCree, which, is just kind of like a short-range Widowmaker, I guess, kind of. I don't know where I'm going with this one. But yeah, where you can find a little more value in the Widow, we may find this get even closer than it already has been.
I would be afraid of Aquatic on a Junkertown, or even like an Eichenwald. Like some long-range maps, Aquatic could start to bring it back. That said, Eve came out on Night Market, and Polarize was right there. Caught that first 1v1, easy as you please. So we kind of hype up Eve like, yeah, it's the Widow 1 trick. They better be good. But if Polarize can match it, suddenly Aquatic's secret weapon is not so powerful, perhaps. I don't know. There's more to it than that. Certainly, there was a lot of pressure put on Eve. I think when you have, when you're coming into a game and you have a not widely advertised, but at least known one trick on the team, that becomes a strategic point for the enemy. And they say, we know what this guy's going to be playing 99% of the time. Let's put a lot of pressure on them. Let's use the anti-Widowmaker strats that everyone knows. Bring out a Genji, bring out some dive tanks, just run in their face, deny sightlines, do what you got to do to shut that player down, and you're fighting a 6v5 every time. So if Anteku can maintain those adaptations and keep Eve out of these fights or force them to swap onto the McCree, which is not the hero they one trick, then, this could look pretty dire pretty fast.
It could. There are certainly a lot of options here for Anteku to try and pick apart this particularly well-crafted strategy from Aquatic, and time remains to be seen whether or not Aquatic can make the adaptation, make the flex to try and counter the counters, as it were. So we do have some more maps coming your way, and Thibble, it's worth noting that as well as being one of the first third-party tournaments on the path to pro, we've also managed to wangle a little bit of additional support for us here at Elo Hell and our players, in that we have got a sponsor on board. So I want to give a big shout out here to Opinion Outpost. So if you've currently been browsing the internet, and we are getting towards the sort of Christmas end of the year, if you're looking through that and you're thinking, do you know what, I'd love to buy my best friend this particular present, and you're just a little bit shy of the money, then we have got a way that you can make that little bit extra. So Opinion Outpost couldn't really be more simple. It's a case of logging on, giving your opinion in just on the website in your own time, whilst you're waiting for your team to regroup, whilst you're watching a stream, whilst you're waiting for the queue to go down. Log on, fill in some surveys, and earn yourself some additional money for those extra goodies as we approach the festive season.
Right. I mean, there are plenty of expensive toys that everyone wants every year. There's always something new. I mean, especially for us broadcasters, we got to look at our mics and, a green screen. If you have to buy a green screen, you're starting to level up a bit. You and I, Phil, we're getting in some big things, and we got to fund this little hobby of ours somehow. And I think Opinion Outpost has definitely shown itself as a way that I personally will be funding all of my expensive toy proclivities, because my day job money has to go to day job things like bills and food and the lights and things like that. But with Opinion Outpost, make a little money on the side, buy yourself something nice, buy your friends and your family something nice because you haven't been able to see them as often. It's a great opportunity. I'm really digging it. I like this partnership a lot.
Yeah, keeping yourself alive is expensive, and Anteku are going to be looking to keep themselves alive here on the defense. Ideally, they'd like to stop this payload as close to the enemy spawn as possible, but this is going to be a great map for Eve here. This has so many good sightlines available.
Getting out of this first spawn area, though, might be a little tricky. We have a Genji Soldier coming online for Anteku and the Wrecking Ball. I think my earlier prediction is coming true. They know that they just need to put some pressure on Eve, but at the same time, Aquatic with this Orisa Hog could be trying to put a stop to that and say, you're going to have to get through us first. Eve is going to be able to do their thing in the back. So let's see.
Huge amount of pick potential available here for Aquatic Esports between the Widowmaker and the Hog.
They didn't get
and that is a heck of an immortality field. Pascal very quick with that one, kept polarized in the fight. Doodle is still looking for picks, can't find the second hook. A quick 180 to try and find the Genji and take over the kills, rapidly racking up in their favor. Aquatic Esports might want to rethink how they're trying this one. I don't know if that Hog and Orisa was really working out for them.
I mean, this looks just like a super strong peel comp, right? Every hero on this roster can turn around and give their support to Eve, who is now swapping onto the Ashe, which is a pick I like a lot. But everyone is designed to support that one player, and so far, not working out.
Man, that was a heck of a sneak and a heck of a kill onto Dusk there, but there just wasn't enough follow-up. Aquatic Esports just didn't capitalize on the space that they'd been given with the lack of a Wrecking Ball, and by the time they're ready to take this next fight, Dusk is going to be back and ready to roll.
Right, I don't think the Orisa is really strong enough, just in terms of her balance right now, to offer the support that's needed. I would almost go for a Reinhardt instead. They swapped to a Sigma, actually. I think that's fine, especially with Kami on a Sigma of his own, but Anteku have such an ultimate advantage.
Early Amplification Matrix, early Immortality Field, and it's Pascal versus Santonis in the back, finding the pick, Cammy with the flux for good measure. No kills on the back of that one, but it looks very close to a team wipe.
Right, yeah, and Santones now even going onto the Widow. A bit of a challenge. Or not quite a challenge, but an extra wrinkle in their strategy. Going for a double sniper, trying to catch someone outside of these shields off guard. More picks to them.
And Dude on a big old flank here, but by the time the flank has come off, Fizz has whipped out the sword, taken down 2. Vega gets another notch in his belt for dealing with Infected, and that's going to be them done. But Doodler, he's got to hope he can remain concealed in the back, find a pick, and find value with the whole hog.
Nope, they found him. He's just barely staying alive, and he ults.
Polarized is in trouble, drops the health pack, drops the tactical visor, finds what's left of Doodler. Doodler's still finding value, though. Vega down, Polarized, dinked to the head by Santones, and this is Aquatic Esports finally, with half their time bank gone, finding a way to crank the Antiku defense. Unfortunately, they have committed the nano boost here, which, when they only had one player left to deal with, may have been something that they'd like back.
Right, expensive from them, time-consuming the stall on from Dusk. You know, and that's what a wrecking ball is good for, and he's doing his job. Still an ult advantage, not quite actually for Antiku, especially with this sound barrier coming out from Lucio, but Doodler getting picked early. That's rough. They're gonna have to try and pull it back. There's less than a minute left already.
You cannot afford to 1v1 Vega. He's been winning pretty much all of these all day long. Brave of Polarized to come back in on the Farragut to go immediately by Santones. Eve is now over onto the Sombra as well, not finding too much value with that one. And it's a trading fight so far. Soundberry out for Vega to try and keep what is left of his team alive. And I think maybe even just to keep himself alive so that he continues to frag out.
Who is this guy? Vega is just defying all expectations, at least that I had. This man is insane. He's getting in every fight, getting kills every fight. Infected got his, separately from that, Infected got his Gravitic Flux cancelled at the start of that fight after the sound barrier had been committed and then focused down. I mean, I don't even know if Eve will be able to build an EMP in time.
You've got to hope you can keep yourself alive in this fight that little while longer, but with a tank down, half of your team, in fact, now down and out, it's going to be very hard to make this work. Doodler is there valiantly fighting on his own to try and make this happen. If there is any hero in the game that can make this fight work out, it is the big, sustainable, high-damage burst potential of the Roadhog, but it's just too little too late. Polarized works him down with the rocket, and that is as far as the payload goes. And Taku, they've now only got to get their payload round that second corner.
Hey, I have some good news for Aquatic. Want to hear it?
Go for it.
Eve just managed to build up his EMP right there at the end.
Huh, well,
oh wait, he didn't. They didn't get to use it though. That's rough. Yeah, that's what we in the industry call a big unlucky, for sure. Doodler doing his best, like you said, to just get onto point, try and get something going. But it felt like Antiku had their number. Every fight, Vega comes in and kills 2, or Pascal gets a kill, or Kami just comes in with the mines, or just general disruption that Wrecking Ball provides. Like, Antiku had an answer every fight, and it was a different answer every time. All these players are just firing on all cylinders right now. And Aquatic, they spent half of that trying to figure out how to make long-range hit scan before Eve had to swap onto a Sombra, which we had not seen before, which looks like it's something that might have worked if they had an extra 2 minutes or so, perhaps. And now they're throwing that out the window on this defense. They know it's not going to work. The Echo Tracer dive coming out, a total new swap, really, from what we've seen from Aquatic, but at least they're trying. They're still not trying to force something that clearly hasn't been working, but they're kind of starting at a rough time because Antiku have such an edge with this hold. They don't need much to win this map and go up 2-0. It's first to 3, so they'll have a chance after that, I suppose, but these adaptations need to start working right now.
Here, early position at the top of the slope, I think, looking to get the drop, looking to try and surprise some folks. Gonna get boots away, nice there from Lucia, but now he's got a low ground position with a line through onto Aquatic Esports. They make themselves scarce, but he's putting in a lot of pressure here. You just gotta be afraid of the Bastion at this point because he will rip through this non-bunker defense. You can't go diving with a Winston. You can't survive if you're a Mercy because you're just going to get ripped into shreds. Lucio reduced to a pair of skates and a sonic blaster. The mech down. Rami finds Infected. And this has got to be it all over and done. No defense against the Bastion.
I know we see the Bastion on the kill field and giving me headaches as he wiggles his mouse around, but I'm almost more afraid of the Lucio in terms of damage output. I don't think we can understate how insane of a performance from Vega that was all the way through. Like, so consistently just getting in, absolutely no fear, enabled by his team, supported by his team, and setting up plays like this coming out from Biz as well, because the Nanoblades were heavily dependent. Maybe not this one, perhaps. It's just kind of sneaking. Okay.
Yeah, a bit of a delayed response there from Eve, unfortunately. I guess Crouching Tiger, Hidden Genji, always a bit more of a threat than you might maybe realize.
It's the curse of the hard scope, you know? You just, you focus in and everything else is gone. There's no such thing as Genji or Lucio unless they're right in front of you. And that, I've made that mistake a few times. That's why I'm still in plat. But anyway, you know, let's not think about my rank experience. Yeah, for sure.
You're a color caster. You've got to say, no, of course I'm top 500. My
Yes.
Samito.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am a professional. I do these things for a living, don't you know? It's definitely not just making memes. Haha. Yeah, I mean, I take it, dude. Just like I said, every player firing on all cylinders right now, completely throwing Aquatic off their game, forcing them to adapt into heroes they probably don't want to be playing in an ideal situation. They look good.
Yeah, and I feel like by the time we got to the end of the attack run coming through from Aquatic, it looked like they'd finally realized what the problems were and how they were to deal with them. So, you know, finally moving Eve over onto the Sombra, when you look at how much space Kami was finding with the Wrecking Ball, and when you look at actually what that composition ended up being with the sleep from the Ana, the hook from the Roadhog, the hack from the Sombra, like everything was designed to shut that down, which they did a couple of times, but so much focus went into that everybody else was able to just pile in and find the kills alongside that, and it's just a little bit too slow, a little bit too late.
Yeah, it was very much just everybody get in here kind of comp, like Tavern Brawler and Hearthstone. It was a mess, but the best kind of mess you could imagine, where everyone's just piling in on the same targets or pushing through the same rotation together and catching someone off guard every fight. We never saw like a normal fight kickoff. It was always like, all right, Anteku got a pick. Now Aquatic are running for their lives or trying to make something happen, always on the back foot there. So it looks like Anteku just have this system down of like, we know we can push in and press W. We know they're going to be playing scared. We know that we can play confidently to converse that. And now they're up to Aquatic now to see if those last couple adjustments they started to make can actually turn into something, or if they're just going to keep getting bowled over no matter what they play.
Well, at least one more map coming your way to see how this all shakes out, whether or not Anteku can take the sweep or Aquatic Esports start to punch back. But we'll be bringing you that last map after a short break.
Academy, they lay down the shutter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%.
Right now with Hydra building up to this Vera Barrage so quickly.
Oh,
and asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha debajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go, figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable!
Tired of the competitive grind and random teammates? Want to put your team to the test against opponents of similar SR?
Push, go.
Ever been told to get good, but felt like you were never given the chance? Introducing our Get Good tournament, open to PC and console teams in NA and EU region. Our goal is to provide you with an environment that will push your team play and individual skills to new heights and an opportunity to make new friends along the way. Our divisions range from beginner to unlimited, and the tournament will start off with a 5 to 6 week group stage in Swiss format, ending in a 2-week long playoff bracket. You can even be showcased live as we stream matches with talented casters every week on Twitch. The winner for each div is crowned champion and will get a Fan Champions role. Good signups will start on October 5th, with the tournament starting on the 23rd for PC and the 24th for console. And if you don't have a team yet, but would like to experience playing in a team, fear not. Solo Player Signups is a team building service offered by Elo Hell Esports in preparation for our Get Good tournament. Sign up on your own and you will be put into a team of 6. Solo player signups are open right now. Go to elohell.gg/getgood for more information and to sign up for the real 6v6 experience.
Hello guys, my name is SVB and you may know me as the host of the Great Overwatch Quiz.
Hammer down, Earth Shatter.
But today, you're the contestants because I've come here with some trivia questions for you. The time to test your Overwatch knowledge with these 2 questions. You ready? The Overwatch Anniversary event introduced some playing cards as sprays which featured hero faces. Which hero is featured on the 9 of spades? Was it A. Orisa, B. Hanzo, C. Tracer, or D. Soldier 76? The correct answer is Orisa. That's it for me. Good luck to all the teams participating in Elo Hell's Trial of Champions. If you want to hear more from me, and I can't imagine why you would, then check me out on YouTube where I'm down as SVB, or Twitch where my handle is OWSVB. That's it from me guys. Enjoy the tournament.
Only to be greeted by this, which then leads to this, and oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing? The solution? Elo Hell pickup games.
Hey, you know what? Just oh my god, it's huge! Oh no! Kill! Let's go!
Open to players of all ranks and most platforms, Pugs give you the chance to experience competitive Overwatch as it was meant to be played. Competitively.
I need help.
I'm with you.
Shoot. No way, dude. Go. Let's go. Nice.
Good call. Players set their icons to indicate the role they want to play, then 2 captains pick their teammates and draft the most competitive teams they can. You can also take part in our pioneering learning event, Coached Pugs. To take part, join the Elo Hell Pickup Games Discord, and be sure to read the Pug Guide and FAQ. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in-game.
Everybody, Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outpost by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today. Welcome back, everybody. And if you're just joining us, bad, wrong, be here from the start. But if you are just joining us, of course, it's 2-0 up, and Teiko looking very clean at the minute. Aquatic looking like they're eventually getting to the answers, but just too little, just too late. We've got at least one more map coming your way to see if Aquatic can start to turn things around here. I'm Big Hungry Phil. With me still is Thibbledork. And Thibble, what's your read on this? Do we think Aquatic are about to stage a comeback?
My read is that you triggered my fight or flight response right there with that little.
By getting up in your face with the camera.
Yeah, just don't do that. I think I want to hope. I want to hope that Aquatic are beginning to see like, okay, we can't just make Widow work all the time. Not against this team. We need to actually adapt. But I feel like Teku are playing so confidently. They have no doubt in their mind that they can press W, send Vega in and get 3 kills, and send Biz in to get the other 3 every fight, you know? And when you're playing like that, something unlocks, especially in Overwatch. When you just have that freedom of like, nothing here can hurt me, I'm just going to run in and kill whatever's in front of me, that makes you stronger. But at the same time, the strength of we're getting bodied by this team, so we might as well just go nuts. That's a strength in and of itself. So both of these teams are kind of amping up on different juices, if you will. And I'm curious to see which one ends up stronger, because Aquatic bringing this back would be quite the match.
The problem with these juices is that people respond to them in different ways. I don't know about you, Thibble, but when I get the I'm being ruffle stomped juice in my sippy cup, I tend to just want to throw the cup away and not drink anymore. I'm not the sort of person that can respond to that with fortitude and bounce back. So you've got to hope that Aquatic Esports are the kind of players who can respond with vim, with vigor, and with renewed drive when they do get beaten down. You've got to hope they've got that Saiyan quality of every time you beat them halfway to death, they come back stronger. They've only got one more chance to prove that, though.
Why do we fall, Master Wayne? Stuff like that. And that, yeah, I agree for sure. There are plenty of times where I have been destroyed within an inch of my life in a ranked game, and I do not go, yes, right, it's time to pull up my bootstraps. It's time to go switch and go play Hades or something. So hopefully they're feeling more of the former than the latter. That depends on their in-game leaders, maybe a coach or manager stepping in and saying, hey guys, here's what we got to do. Let's bring it back. We got this. Come on. And like giving them that kind of halftime, pep talk of sorts. If they got a good one of those, Aquatic might be back in this thing. We never know. But if they didn't, or if it wasn't effective enough, or if they're just going to get outplayed again by Anteku anyways, the series could be over fast.
And the series is about to continue as we move over onto Hollywood. And I feel like we've put an awful lot of weight here on Eve's shoulders in particular, because we feel like this is the linchpin around which the team hinges when you've got a player that wants to play just this long-range hit scan. And with that in mind, I don't know if Hollywood is the map I really want for that long-range hit scan. At the very least for point A, certainly for point B, but for the rest of the map, probably not the best pick.
It has its place. There is that one first shot as you grapple right out of spawn up to the right side high ground, and you kind of get across like a sight line into the choke and everything. You can make some stuff happen there sometimes. But this almost feels like a composition you would want to bring out just for second phase as we go into a pause. Second phase obviously is always going to be a little better for the snipers just because of the wide variety of high grounds to duel from and the sight lines that gives you over the lower ground and everything like that. I would expect the Widow more on defense for first than offense.
And I think the other thing to consider is that, you've got to consider the value that you can find in ultimates and utility, aside from just that raw pick potential that the Widowmaker has, which makes me think, maybe let's see Eve on the Ashe, because even if it doesn't work, at the very least you're building towards an ultimate that has a lot more utility, and you're getting constant splash damage with the extra utility of your TNT and your coach gun and stuff. It's just that little more versatile Widow.
Yeah, I think the Ashe would probably be a good pick. Maybe Eve swaps to it like after 1 life or something. But for now, it looks like we are getting a Widow to start. Let's see if as they reassemble their heroes here in the next 10 seconds or so, we'll kind of see if Eve goes to that, or if maybe they're talking it out and deciding to switch it up. They are, of course, also on attack, so they can change their heroes right up to the starting bell. We're generally told not to talk about them because they could change at any time, but I think we can be fairly confident of Eve's decision here so far, given how the rest of the game has gone, as Anteku set up an interesting composition here on defense.
So, look, I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, and Anteku are now so confident, so cocky, so sure they're going to win this, that they've started to offload.
They have. I literally just realized that as I finished my last sentence. It's Vega on the... Okay, this is weird. Did we forget to turn on roll lock, or is that just a thing that they can... They're all over the place. What on earth is this?
Yeah,
I love this, but I'm also terrified. What are we looking at?
Doomfist Reaper with Hog Diva.
Not only that, your main tank on the Reaper.
Yeah, this is. I think this is a team that are fully confident, or very Light with the early pick there. Eve caught on the low ground. Let's escape there. Like fluid as you like. Dude is going to receive a bit of a pummeling there. Light with another dash in. Santona's down. They will lose Polarize here, but there should be just enough time for him to waddle back to the score.
So you and I, Phil, have been doing a lot of casting for Contenders Trials, primarily. A dash of Open Division here and there. This is not something you see generally at those levels of play. And this is, I love this. This feels like old Overwatch, 2016, 17 Overwatch. Like the double Winston, double Tracer Overwatch. This is wacky. This is wacky, and I love it. Kami on the Reaper just doesn't care. Santoni's getting an opening pick up here.
There is the nano boosted Doomfist in the back with a quick double, finds the melee kill, finds the rocket punch in, he's looking for the 4. Lucio on the high ground, it's going to be Vega that gets that one, but Light is on the charge still. Looks like we might see him try and chase down Eve here, decides he's not got enough mobility. Vega will be following that one up, but it cost them their main support.
I'm really glad you guys can't see caster cams right now, because my face is just, I am gobsmacked by this. What? This is so insane. This completely throws off attempts at analysis. You've got your main tank now on Tracer, like they're playing mystery heroes here, and this is just insane.
Back in on Sombra here, and kills starting to come through now for Aquatic, with Polarize going to get focused down with the hack as well. Santona's on the way back from spawn. Light able to find one, has the ultimate, looking for a second, won't find the target they were really looking for, receives instead the anti-nade to the face, and that's got to be it here. Aquatic Esports with the cap on point A.
I'm very glad at least that at something that was not the final fight, Aquatic did manage to turn around and beat the team that is off-rolling against them in one fight. That is good for them. That is something to hold on to, because they haven't had much. They could potentially start to push this into Street Phase pretty well. Eating the pulse bomb from Kami is a big one. That's pretty nice.
And that's a heck of a start. Nice combo there with the EMP. Vega transformed into nothing more than ultimate charge. Rocks to the face of Doomfist on the way in. Hooked as well. Followed up with primary fire. Doomfist takes him down. Missed the flashback there for Santonis, trying to duel the Lucio of Dusk. We'll see a sleep on the cart there onto the Sombra of Eve, but it is still moving forward.
Right, Polarize now swapping to the Orisa. We have an Orisa Sigma. This is looking like a fairly standard comp here, minus the rolls. Tremantenku Santonis, though, kind of waking up a little bit.
Look at the whole hog. dodges the rock. Back point, didn't find a whole lot with that one. Lands in the face of the Doomfist, gets the hook right up under his jaw and deals with him. Light's going to go down here. It's the 5v6 already as Doodler is on the hunt on the side. There's the hack onto the health pack. And this might be the new patch that has the automatic elevator.
It is. I just saw that too. Yeah, it is. The elevator's going to hang out at the bottom, and when you stand on it, it quickly heats you up to the high ground and goes right back down. I like the change. I also like how this fight is going because Deadeye.
He's lifted up into the air, pulls the trigger, deals the main tank. Vegas still trying to make something happen here with Sigma, but Aquatic Esports, like the rising tide, surge over Antaku, and they look to be on their way to capping out streaks.
You know, Empath there getting that last kill onto Light as he was being uppercut. I actually did want to bring up at some point in this game that he has quietly been having a pretty decent series overall. Aquatic are certainly getting the snot smacked out of them here and there. But he got key reses on Mercy. As Ana, he's been holding his own against this ridiculous in-your-face Doomfist, you know, hitting the shots, doing what he needs to do. Props to him, because if I were a healer in this game, I would have tilted off the face of the earth. He is doing okay.
She's certainly putting quite a fight here. Unfortunately, you will be down and out in that fight. They get able to find a couple of picks there, coming back in on the Sigma. Pascal finds Doodle here as well, and this is finally a hold. Antaku didn't manage to burn much time off streaks, but holding here at the choke is a great position to be in if you are Antaku. A couple of kills early on here might help them keep that going, but they lose just early on. Going to be much harder to get out of the way of what Aquatic Esports are bringing, and they bounce back fairly quickly. Antaku now giving up ground to Aquatic Esports.
Right, and they Antaku were going for a spawn push there, and their flux actually got canceled. A nice pull, though, into that meteor strike. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'll trade out, though. Empath is going to go down here as well, and quick DPS for big support. Not the trade you're looking for. Eve now with the Sombra gets the pick onto Kami, gets the pick onto Vega here, so wrong of us to write them off as a Widow one trick. Really starting to make this work. Amplification Matrix came out there from Pascal, but right in the middle of the enemy team, they were able to just surge around it and avoid the boosted damage.
You know, and we've only been calling Eve a one-trick because they call themselves a one-trick. Eve, you need to have a little more faith in yourself. This Sombra is not bad. This is something more than what a Widow one-trick could do. This is a proper flex hit scan DPS player. I am loving what I'm seeing here, finally, from this team. They're putting together pretty good. Nice pick there.
With a meaty hook, the race is going to come through, but it's too little too late, and that is a nice old time bank for Sports.
I mean, there's the obvious asterisk that Antaku are literally playing mystery heroes and doing whatever the heck they want and all that jazz. But Aquatic there, sparks of life. And giving that spark to a team is very dangerous in Overwatch. Because, yeah, you're off-rolling now, and even if you lose this map, you can swap back on the next one and finish it, and whatever. Who cares? You're just trying to have fun, right? But if you play this wrong, and Aquatic suddenly get confident and stop playing scared of Vega running around on the Lucio next map and just being fearless, and they start to figure out how their target focus goes, getting in the flow of their comms and everything, this could slip into a map 5 a lot quicker than you might like it for Antaku. So they're having some fun with it. It's making for a very interesting and probably the most interesting game of Overwatch I've casted in a very long time. But this could be a bit of a trap for Antaku if they're not careful, as we again see some interesting swaps here. We've got Kami back on the Tracer, Vega back on the Diva, Pascal now on the Zen. We're going for a Zen Mercy Ashe sort of combo on attack. And we have Eve on the Torpure.
Okay. Well, you know, I like the Torb on the defense. I think particularly when you've got some squishy heroes coming through, I'm looking at the Tracer in particular for Kami. That turret is actually a real threat if it's in a hard-to-reach place.
Good at catching a flying Mercy, too.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. This is what a weird game. I love this game so much. Game of Overwatch, everyone.
Okay, well, the early turret was actually out in the line of fire of Antaku on their way in. Santona's with an early pick. Light's going to go down here. Race immediately burns, and that's 30 seconds where kills are a little bit more permanent now. Kami away in the backline on the hunt. And I work down the Torb there with the Overload still in play. Instead gets a line through onto Empath. Empath ducking and weaving. Recall coming out now. There's the rundown. Will box the noggin to round off the kill onto Empath. There's no res here, and Light's starting to close the distance. He's going to go down to TNT. Light with a shot there, looking to get the final pick onto Lucio. Lucio down, and this has been super quick for Antaku today.
this is normally not a depth of strategy that we ever look into in Overwatch, but like, with the exception, I guess, of like the Outlaws putting hydration on main tank or something. But it's terrifying to see that Tracer play came from the player that's been playing main tank the last 2 maps. Like, you normally don't think main tanks are capable of doing that, but Kami just walked in and like 4v1 weaved through to get the perfect melee to kill the Ana and then got away. And that's a Wrecking Ball on Reinhardt player? Excuse me?
Well, you know, mere mortals like yourself and myself, Tibble, we go, oh, well, you know, they're a tank player. They can only play tank. No, like, when you reach this level, your mechanics and your general game skills are good enough that you can make pretty much anything you want to a reasonable standard.
Yeah. My mind is taken back, as it often is, to Seagull and how, you know, he played Diva and...
Oh my gosh! Gabby with a 3K on the stick! They all were on the elevator, rising up to what they thought was heaven. Instead, it's a one-way trip to the hell of the spawner.
Yeah, okay, forget me talking about Seagull. I was going to bring up how he played Widow and Tracer on stream once. It was actually good, and everyone was surprised. And he was like, yeah, dude, I'm good at the video game. I can play even on those heroes. It's fine. These guys are proving that point, but that... Oh, what a beautiful... And he gets another one. He is going insane right now.
This is so good. This is so good from everybody here for Aquatic Esports. Nice presence there from Vega. Goes in on the back of the hook, throws in the defense mid, which stops the kill coming through. There is a whole hog going off, but it is Doodler against the world and takes all the damage in the world. Payload's rolling in mighty quick. This is going to be, what, 5.5 minutes? Yeah, 5.5 minutes in the time bank to see is a dumb time bank.
Pascal even threw out the Transcendence for what I can only assume is absolutely no reason, looking at a team like this. That was 100% BM Transcendence. And Aquatic, once again, I think are starting to realize, like, maybe if they had that little spark of confidence I was talking about after that first round, I feel it's been quashed. Because a time bank like this is... it's disgusting. It's insane. They do have 3 ultimates to their credit, because the Coalescence is going to build up really quick here. They do have an advantage. You have to keep an eye on Bob coming out, I suppose, but otherwise they're looking pretty okay. But they also just get picked out, so like, what does that even matter?
I mean, Polarize nearly got taken out on that one. Wouldn't have been the biggest pick in the world. Would have been something. And in the meantime, it's just a very one-sided looking kill feed here. There's going to be one more fight on this point. They will have the flux. Is that going to be enough, though, Phil?
I think if they can sustain the fight long enough to build the DPS ults, they have a shot. Whether or not they can do that remains to be seen.
Sound Barrier, Flux, Coalescence all out at the same time. Light adds an additional player into the mix. The Bob now on the field. Kills coming through though. Transcendence a little late to save Polarize, but might keep him in the fight. There's Force Bomb out, won't try to stick. This time now it's Vega with the self-destruct as the second set of ordnance with no kills to its name. And Taku are still in this fight in a fairly meaningful way here. They've got the big bulky players on the point. Doodler can't heal himself. Lost in the middle of the whole hog. Eve with a tag back onto the point. Empath with a go on it as well. And that is where the payload will stop. And that is a meaty advantage in time bank for Antaku.
I mean, 90 seconds. That's still less than the, what, 3-minute difference there was at the start of that point? They're happy at least for that very minor bit of stall. Doodle just building up the whole hog, only getting to use it for like half a second before going down. The Coalescence got some good value to start. The beat maybe came out a little early. They wanted to engage with beat just because they've been getting picked out so often, which I understand. Maybe would have held onto that for a couple extra seconds to save someone low like Eve, who went down just before building up the high noon and then couldn't even use it because he just had to go back on point and stall. So some slight problems with ult management perhaps at the end of that fight, but at the same time, that whole round, you can't even blame that one fight because it was really just a result of how the whole round had gone. And now we're looking at that 94-second time difference. We're looking at what are Aquatic even really going to be able to accomplish with this attack round, and will it be enough to hold Antaku with that time bank advantage online? We have Eve swapping back to the Widow here.
You've got to think that really for Aquatic Esports, it's time to turn whatever dials you have left all the way to 11 and hope that something works out on this one, because a 94-second time bank is 2 good fights, maybe 2 kind of scrappy fights, but you know that's a big difference in how this map is going to work out.
Yeah, that one extra fight to get you into overtime and start an overtime push could be huge, you know. And Aquatic, even with this 2-minute time bank, they don't have a lot of time to dilly. They really need to get onto the point and start making something happen. And hopefully deal with this Tracer, because Kami is not going to let up after the round they've had.
No, Kami is putting in a lot of pressure there. We'll find the 1v1 with Eve, forcing out the early recall. That's going to be Eve on 18 HP and no chance to recall. Gets run down, and that's going to be the cap there as Doodler falls.
Very close.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good on the defense.
Yeah, Eve actually could have tried to blink over to that health pack. I think they felt that Kami was going to be putting pressure on it, but they didn't. I don't really know. 1v1s are always strange. Like getting the kill here onto Santone. Just, oh man, this one's rough.
Yeah, I did think Vagrant maybe overcooked that one. Might not have got him back into the mech, but did manage it. Kami's now on Operation Spawn Camp here. Forced is back into Spawn, and man, Kami is just like the greased pig of this match. He's so hard to grab, he's so hard to pin down, and the whole time he's just firing those balls at you, just like a classic greased pig.
I like the swap here onto the Winston though, because it at least allows you to get one opening onto you. Put some pressure on, force out a couple ultimates here. It's something. They're getting so they gotta pick even. This is something. I like this.
Light's gonna undo that one. Polarize receives the full brunt of the whole hog there. Will survive thanks to the adaptive shields. Has to dig into the health tank there to keep himself in that. Pascal playing around the back here, and 2 kills on the self-destruct for Vega. Man, whatever role you put this guy on, he is going to find frags. It's kind of nutty.
Yeah, and he would have gotten 3 if Pascal hadn't just ripped that guy's head off right before it went on. Polarizes the minds just to say, you're not getting any closer here. And as I was a little afraid of, Aquatic, you're not getting much done with those 2 minutes.
Okay, but stronger, stranger, harder to manage holds have been managed on Hollywood. Like, the right set of picks here can result in a draw for this map, but Aquatic Esports are going to have to play that pixel perfect if they want that to happen.
This is a runaway in the Apex final, or not in the Contenders finals, 5.5 minutes on some old map that we don't play anymore called Horizon Lunar Colony. That's the kind of play these guys are looking at right now. They need to make something like that happen. And I don't know about that one. I'm getting a little shaky on maybe whether or not that's possible. But like you said, crazier things have happened, and I would love that, because crazy things happening, when you've been around in Overwatch for as long as we have, crazy things happening is like the only dash of novelty you get. The comps come and go, the players come and go, the names change, but the stories stay the same. But the 5-minute holds, the 3.5-minute holds when you've been getting beat on the entire series, that's something that makes you sit up a little straighter in the chair. So I want to see it, because that'll make this real interesting, real fast. An aggressive first hold from Eve, now on the Soldier.
Man, I actually don't like this with Eve. They gave away a lot of their positioning by just randomly firing while waiting for the spawn to unlock. But Santonis gets an opening pick there. Light's going to go down, but Rez immediately burns to bring them back in. That's a mulligan if ever there was one. And now Eve has to make this work against the enemy Diva. And, well, it's not looking great for Aquatic Esports. They've no longer got the number advantage. They do momentarily have the defender's advantage, but Kami on the Echo just tears an absolute trail through Aquatic Esports. They just need a few more percentage to go, and that is going to be the series done. 3-0 for Anteku.
I mean, there's a lot to say about whether or not we can call that last map close because of the off-rolling and everything. This is as BM as I really felt I could expect. Though, of course, someone very well may prove me wrong. If you look at this beautiful pulse bomb. Here you go. Love that.
Finding that in a box of breakfast cereal.
Yeah, right? But, like, oh, I need a nap after that one. Just insanity. Just pure insanity. I don't even know really which part to talk about first. What do you think?
It's really hard to provide a meaningful analysis when you are looking at a team that felt so comfortable that they were off-rolling. Like, that is BM from before the map even starts from Anteku, so it's a little bit hard to analyze fully. But I think maybe the thing to look at here is just how well players like Kami and Vega were able to perform consistently across a couple of different roles here, which is not a thing that we often get to see in Overwatch.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's really reserved for Hydration, Rascal, like Mirror. Those are probably like the big three that you see swapping around roles in Overwatch at the highest level anyway. So to see that happen in a game at this level is probably a little more BM than strategy. Let's be real. But at the same time, it does a lot to showcase the flexibility and capability of these players. You know, you've got players like Vega and Light and Kami who swapped off role and almost look better on the off roles, air quotes, off roles, than they did on their main roles, right? Kami was getting like 4v1ing people and getting 3-man pulse bomb sticks. Light was getting multi-kills on his Doomfist, like all the way through. And Vega was putting as much pressure on as Diva as he was on Lucio, which is actually a compliment, even though you wouldn't think it is just looking at normal Lucio players. Like, that was weird and insane, but it's something to talk about. And that just made for a very interesting series. I really hope everyone enjoyed it.
And of course, if you did enjoy it, and if you did enjoy specific players in particular, well, now's your chance to have your say in who you think the most valued player, the MVP, through that match was. There's going to be a poll in chat ready for you to vote, and we'll reveal the answer after we return from a short break. Welcome back, everybody. As we threw to break, I was saying to Thibault, I think if I had to pick an MVP, it would have to be Vega. And then I looked at the poll results, and like 30 seconds in, it was already 70% plus voting for Vega. So we have the MVP of that match, Anteku's Vega, here to celebrate. So, Vega, first of all, congratulations. How are you feeling on the back of that win?
It was a fun match. I think, respectively, like both teams had fun.
Certainly looked like it. What was the, if there's any, what was the strategy behind switching things up there on that last map?
Well, me and Dust would duo like off rolls a lot, and so we were practicing because we do not play ball. Like our main thing is god awful at ball.
Okay, so it's just kind of one of those where like if we're gonna have to play ball, we might as well switch it up into something we're comfortable on.
Yeah, no, like I played Summer for the team. Dentetta's played Ryan for the team before. Like we're all basically flex players. Some people just don't come.
That's insane. We don't really see things like that pretty much anywhere. Is that something you guys think you'll be able to carry into some of the later and tougher matches, perhaps, as a strategic edge?
I mean, if we need a ringer, we do it like in scrims sometimes. If we don't have someone, like I'll go Sombra or like.
Okay, okay, I got it.
Yeah. So, this is obviously quite a wide tournament, 48 teams in total. Looking forward to your upcoming matches, is there anybody you're particularly worried about facing, or are you just taking all this in stride?
Probably. I don't know if Our Zero's in here. Our Zero's a good team. That's basically it.
Okay.
Maybe the Lunar Region Nocturnal team.
Okay.
That seems
yeah.
decent.
Kind of heading up into that tier, I suppose. That makes sense. Those are some pretty good teams. So yeah. I'm very interested, though, to see if a team like Anteku starts making it up there and challenging some of those teams, because they have a very established structure. So there's a chance you throw them off. I don't know. How would you feel if you started really making it far, and or even how would you feel if you won this whole thing? What would you do, like with the prize money or anything like that? What's the plan if you've looked that far ahead?
Well, I don't know. It's just money. Like I don't know how to use it on, honestly.
That's a good philosophy to have, honestly. Yeah, it's just money.
Just
let it do its thing.
I don't know.
Good deal. It's a very sensible answer.
I think like the only thing I really care about is probably just getting streamed like higher up in the matches.
You're just here for the grind. You just want the victories and the success, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I want it to be like more challenging, I guess.
Okay. So forgive me for saying it, but Anteku is a team that I feel like I've not really seen in Open Division or any of the sort of more open competitions that we have here. How long have you guys been playing together?
The roster used to be the Minor Manners roster, which got
okay.
Yeah, lots of things happened to that. We played Open Division and we got to Contender Trials. So
okay, right. So
I hope to be seeing this team a little more for sure.
And if you don't mind, what is the meaning behind the name, out of interest?
It's from Tokyo Ghoul.
Okay.
I thought it sounded familiar. Okay.
I was just thinking the other day, we've got Karasuno, but we really need more Weeb teams in the Tier 2, Tier 3 team. Like, that's the one thing that's missing.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, well, Vega, thank you very much for joining us. I think we're probably about coming to the end of this, but I wanted to give you the opportunity before you go just to give any shout-outs that you might have to anybody who's watching.
I don't really know who to shout out, but I'm just gonna say that, like, our Flex CPS Biz, that guy's really toxic. I really dislike that guy.
Ooh, some internal team conflicts live on stage.
We all hate him.
Okay, well, that's good to know, and I'm glad that we've given you this forum to air your grievances.
Speak your truth.
Hopefully, this will help and make you start to move towards a place of healing.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Vega, thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing more of you and take you over the rest of the Triad of Champions.
Thank you.
For everybody else, that is going to be the end of the first match. Obviously, it's 1st to 3. Not a lot of point in playing the remaining 2 maps. And as the MVP has been decided, I feel like that's a nice cap on proceedings for the first of today's matchups. But of course, that's only the first half of the broadcast. We still have one more game coming your way, and we'll be leading into that after we throw to a little break. We'll see you on the far side.
shatter. Let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%.
Right now with Hydra building up to this Vera Barrage so quickly.
Oh!
And asking!
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha debajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable!
Tired of the competitive grind and random teammates? Want to put your team to the test against opponents of similar SR?
Go.
Ever been told to get good, but felt like you were never given the chance? Introducing our Get Good tournament, open to PC and console teams in NA and EU region. Our goal is to provide you with an environment that will push your team play and individual skills to new heights and an opportunity to make new friends along the way. Our divisions range from beginner to unlimited, and the tournament will start off with a 5 to 6 week group stage in Swiss format, ending in a 2-week long playoff bracket. You can even be showcased live as we stream matches with talented casters every week on Twitch. The winner for each division is crowned champion and will get a fancy champion's role. Get Good signups will start on October 5th, with the tournament starting on the 23rd for PC and the 24th for console. And if you don't have a team yet, but would like to experience playing in a team, fear not. Solo player signups is a team building service offered by Elo Hell Esports in preparation for our Get Good tournament. Sign up on your own and you will be put into a team of 6. Solo player signups are open right now. Go to elohell.gg/getgood for more information and to sign up for the real 6v6 experience.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Everybody, Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outpost by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today.
Like, I'm putting all of my time into this always. And to be honest, it kind of has to work out because my academic career wasn't amazing. Video gaming is kind of all that I have. So I don't really have a lot else to put, a lot more energy to put into it. It's everything that I can.
They say, like, do what you love, and I really, really like playing Overwatch. I make fun of the game a lot and, complain about balance patches and stuff, but I really do enjoy the game. I want to make a career out of it.
So I started playing Overwatch in October 2016. That was like season 3. My first ranking ever was 900. So I started in bottom bronze.
Playing games for money and playing games for pro and going against really good people. And it's always like a dream. Realizing that if I stick to it, this might be something I can actually do something with and be proud of.
When I was originally in Diamond, some guy in my Diamond game a while ago said, "We're never going to go pro, we're Diamond, why are we trying so hard?" And I basically said, "Screw you, I'm going to go pro."
We have now learned that we do have this potential and we need to use this. We need to continue practicing and working harder.
When you look at tier 3, a lot of us have been at the bottom of the barrel. We've been in the downs and the dumps of, the Overwatch ladder system.
I think as a team going into Trial of Champions, now we know we can do this.
Making it to Contenders Trials proves to myself that all the hard work that I'm putting into it is actually doing something.
I went to the Atlanta Reign homestand, seeing those players up on stage. That was the moment I was like, that's who I want to be. I want to do everything I can to get there.
Sigma! Oh! Whoa! Oh, man, she's back with the PK.
Oh my god! Their wall to set it up, they had no idea!
The Overwatch League players already made it. they're as high as you can get. They're playing for money and they're playing for clout. But for us, in Tier 3, we're basically playing for our future. If we want to make it, we have to play every match our hardest.
The unique strats that you see in Overwatch League, they all start here.
I am making this dream that I've had for so long, a reality.
At the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, is to play the best Overwatch we can against the best players we can to prove that we're the best.
Welcome back, everybody. With 2 teams out of the way, you've now seen a whopping 4.16 recurring percent of all the teams that we have here in the Trial of Champions, and coming your way, another 4.16% recurring in the form of Disbanded versus Kraken. I'm Big Hungry Phil. With me is Thibbledork, and Thibble, before the break, we got the chance to talk with our MVP from the previous game, Vega, and if you want to make yourself the MVP of your own wallet, you could do worse than check out Opinion Outpost, the sponsor of Trial of Champions. It really couldn't be more simple. If you'd like a little bit more spending money, a little more walking around money, as it were, then you just need to log on to Opinion Outpost, and just in your downtime, whilst waiting for queues, watching streams, waiting for your team to get together for that one final push onto point, fill out your opinions, fill out some surveys, and then extra money comes flowing straight back to you. Care of Opinion Outpost.
First off, A-tier segue. Much like Opinion Outpost is an A-tier partner of the Trial of Champions presented by Elo Hill Esports. Second off, I wasn't told there was going to be a math test. I did not know what percentage of the total teams these teams were. So if I fail that, that's frankly on you as an educator. I wasn't ready. I was too busy on Opinion Outpost making extra money because Christmas is going to be expensive this year. Yeah. So, just some critiques for next time. Maybe prep me for the math test before we get into the ad read, because I really want to be able to focus on how easy it is to make money with Opinion Outposts and how you can literally do it like anytime. And that it's a great way to just have a little extra money to spend on your friends or your family or yourself. So, anywho.
Maths, like life, and the extra money that comes from Opinion Outpost comes at you fast, and you've got to be prepared. Speaking of prepared, I do hope you are prepared for our next matchup, Disbanded versus Kraken. So I feel like another set of teams here that we've maybe not seen a huge amount from in Tier 3 and Tier 2, so potentially some surprises coming our way.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I don't know if it could possibly live up to the surprises that we've gotten from a team off-rolling in the last map to sweep their opponents or something. But hey, I didn't think that was going to happen before the first series started, and look where we are now. So really anything, I think, is possible at this stage in the game. Very excited to see these 2 teams, though, pull up. I actually managed to get some notes on this one, and we were a little more prepared for it, unlike the maths lesson you gave me a bit ago. Looks to be a pretty even match. Both of these teams love running very particular comps. They have their specialists, not one tricks necessarily, but they have some specialists, and they have a lot of flexibility though as well, especially like towards the support lines. I think there's a lot of opportunities to run some different combo plays and stuff like that from both of these teams.
I'm looking at Kraken, and I've really got to hope that Widow is playing Widowmaker and that it's not Dynamic playing the Widowmaker, because if I've got Widow on Tracer and Dynamic on the Widow, there is no hope in heck that I'm going to keep that straight in my own head.
Oh, that's the very oh goodness, what was it? Like Rio and Rhea when it was Charge versus Spark and stuff like that. Those are awful. I always thought man, I feel so bad for the casters. So if that ends up being us right now, I'm not going to be happy about it, but we'll make it work regardless. I'm pretty sure on their team sheet, it was listed as Widow's going to play Widow.
Yeah, Widow is the hit scan player.
Widow will be on Widow and nothing else. But
down as Reaper and Widow.
Right, yeah, but they kind of said that about Eve last time too. Just like Eve is our Widow one trick, they will be on Widow the whole time. And that did not end up happening. So I'm a little spurious, as it were, about Widow one tricks, especially much like the last game. We're starting up on Legion Tower and again starting up on Gardens. Not the best starting stage for a Widow. I don't know.
Well, we saw Eve in the last round manage a couple of opening picks, particularly as we got to Night Market. But I think what we're seeing from both of these teams is an enhanced flexibility. So Who knows what we're going to see here? I mean, Gardens to me screams Farah, it screams Echo, it screams lots of easy boops off the side, and Disbanded look like they might be running the Echo here.
Right, and Disbanded in general said on their team sheet they like to be flexible. They have a couple particular comps they like to play, but they love to kind of flex around and keep people guessing. Their favorite comps are Dive and Yoink and Oink, which sounds like they just mentioned Roadhog 2 times. I don't know what that's about.
It's also called Pulled Pull.
There we go. Okay, yeah, so an Orisa comp, which doesn't seem to be what they're coming out with here. Kraken said their favorite comp was Goats. That doesn't really tell me much, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what they like to play as we get in here on the point on Legion Gardens.
Well, you know, Kraken playing a slightly brawlier style here, with Widow coming in on the Reaper. No surprises there, the most played hero for the team. Kraken currently still playing in white with Disbanded in an early aggressive position onto point. We're still looking for this first pick here. Look for dynamic here, already getting a lot of upcharge. Likely to have that pulse bomb online inside the next 20 seconds or so. Looking for an early pick. Well, doesn't need the ult, does it? Primary fire. Stone dropping like their namesake down and out already. There's the D-Mech and the kill. Widow's going to find Kibiana, and that's going to be an early flip here for Kraken.
I mean, great rotation coming out from Kraken. Both teams' front lines kind of playing ring around the rosy around that point. And they said, we're gonna fake them out, we're gonna break their ankles, we're gonna go for the Tracer, and we're gonna go for the Echo right away. So just a strong first pick that I don't think Disbanded were quite ready for, given the rotations that were being made and the like setup to a real fight that both teams I feel were trying to do. That said, some good ult build up on that long first fight. We have a sound barrier already coming online. DPS ults and tank ults not far behind.
It's going to be Tears that starts things off here, but a big shattering over the top from Indy. Charge is going to find Stone. Another rundown there with the couple lessons. Choco getting credit for that one. We'll see Indy drop at the back end of this one, so the main tank with that main tank on the main tank. Violence taking Indy out of the fight. Kraken still in this in a pretty meaningful way. Widow's going to be holding on to the Death Blossom. Might not need it here, but can pull that out of the bag if necessary. Sound Barrier even happy. Disbanded want to keep themselves in this fight and going. Duplicate for Stone. Picks up the Reaper, pulls out the ultimate. Choco able to punch back there with self-destruct, but they are now battered and bleeding on the side of Kraken. Disbanded, getting kill after kill. There's the D-Mech. Nemo's going to fall, but they've done the work here. We're looking at the flip for Disbanded.
I mean, such an expensive recontest, though, and stalled all the way through still now. I think we're just now, there we go. There's the capture, 71% for Kraken, and that cost Disbanded literally everything. They had to recontest right away with the core elements. They had to use the sound barrier to keep them in the fight. Kivana went down. They had to use Stone's duplication and the EMP and the bomb. I mean, that's a lot. And they're at a significant percent disadvantage, so let's see if they can win these fights cheaply or quickly enough to get them an advantage again.
Cheeky interrupt there on the hack and Indy with the 180 shield flick. He wants a couple more swings in with the hammer to find that shatter, but Hannah is now down and out as well. There's a real main tank difference, and I just mean that one is in the fight and one isn't here, and Disbanded with that key rung of the ladder, pulled out from under them, falling to the ground, back to spawn here. They're going to get one more good go at this, and they will at least have a couple of tools to try and make it happen.
Right, the duplicate can be very strong. They got some value off of the Reaper duplication last fight. The Primal will also come online. It got some value the first time it was used, but not by much. Depends on kind of where you are and if you can get some environmental kills from it. But they're gonna have to come in decisively here. This is last fight territory.
Oh man, Indy just got so focused, squished between the duplicated Reaper, duplicated Whitehard even, and the Coalescence, and just completely taken to task on that one. That was such a good duplicate from Stone. Choco's going to go down here, and we are at last fight territory, but now it's up to Kraken to break this egg.
And it feels like Disbanded are in a much better place in terms of ultimates than they were the first time they captured the point, but Kraken, just the same. They have 5 ultimates coming online, and Tears is going to build that blood way. Disbanded need that EMP, exactly, yes.
1-for-1 trade, nothing out of the self-destruct, but Bravo getting in with the 3K on their own. For Kraken, they hold on to 4 ultimates. They're about to get number 5 online, so Disbanded just used their best tool in that fight.
Right, I mean, it's a good fight win, and it's not super expensive, just 2 ultimates, but it was almost too quick to build up the others that you need. This sound barrier has to sustain long enough to build up the duplication, the primal, and the coalescence. Otherwise, Kraken are going to just be able to wash over them with these ultimates. Here we go.
Sound barrier out early, hits a fat shatter. 2 on the ground already. Dynamic comes in with the force bomb, takes 1 out, and Indy just swinging indiscriminately, friend and foe alike. Hit by the hammer. Only one of them has to worry about it. It's gonna go to 99.99, but it is a flip for Kraken, and the overtime starts to trickle on down. Stone with the duplicate. He's gonna find a lot of pressure sent his way out of the duplicate. Tape handed down as well. Stone still in this. Finds the rundown on Indy with the focusing beam. Stone's gonna drop here again. It's not certain yet for Kraken, but they've got the numbers advantage. There's the D-Mech. Hammer's going to throw in the Primal Rage here to try and keep the contested that a little bit longer. Does manage to reach on point, jumping in through the window, but his teammates fall like dominoes around him, and surely he himself not much longer for this world as Kraken look to solidify their hold here on Gardens.
Stone swapping onto the Tracer, but I don't think it's quite enough. Dynamic Cuties and Pulse Bomb not getting much done there. Indy, like you said, swinging with utter disregard for life and limb, killing everything in sight that he is technically allowed to kill. This just keeps Marvel
back in on the Wrecking Ball, still keeps going, tries to pick up the Dynamic, will eventually get focused down, but it buys time for another recon test. Choco finds 1 with the self-destruct, and that's all that's required, but oh boy, Disbanded did not want to let that go.
And it really never even looked like they had necessarily what it took to recapture that, but their stall, just mechanically, was very strong. That lasted a long time, even though they never really had the leg up in that fight. Stone had a pick here or there, perhaps, but ultimately they were always down and just kept that going no matter what. Now, though, we get into Control Center, which we have not seen yet today. I feel like this almost favors Kraken more. Indy on the Reinhardt was doing so well, and Kivana never swapped off that Winston. Now, though, we're going to see if he has what it takes to go toe-to-toe with the indiscriminate hash-slinging slasher, or whatever the heck we want to call him these days.
And this is a... it's a very niche, it's a very specific comp, but it's all about looking for this first frag. Who can do the most damage here? And a much more aggressive positioning here. Forces Kraken to get around the other side of the point here, so they're not contesting up on the high ground. Stone just raiding the damage indiscriminately, doesn't really care where they land as long as there is somebody in his line of fire. That's going to be Widow down first, so Disbanded with an early pick, but lose the main tank here from Disbanded. So still fairly even here so far. And Jerry keeping it going. Indy's going to go down here as well. And with Jerry getting that pick onto Choco, that's going to be where things really start to swing in favor of Disbanded. Desi's going to go down here early. Flip for Disbanded.
Hey, Phil, is someone microwaving something in the background of your audio? I could have sworn I heard a very loud burr noise. Maybe that was just in Jerry, because he's already 85% to his ultimate. Those sustained fights are so good for Disbanded because they have such an insane damage potential, all front loaded. This is a great look for them.
Man, this has been really good for Disbanded, and that was they actually managed it! That was crazy! And Jerry did most of the damage onto the Riptire, and then it was Stone with the Conk Mine that completely dealt with it. And Disbanded just looked phenomenal in this lineup.
This is a whole new look. I love the DPS coming out. I love the sheer amount of damage and the complete lack of fear they're willing to play with. They say, oh, Indy's indiscriminate? Let me tell you what Kivana can do. Let me show you what Stone can do. We're not afraid of you guys. We're going to keep this close. And suddenly they're looking much better than they were on the last round.
That was an interesting charge, and the Shadow comes out, and Indy only finds 1, doesn't get happy. So, happy times all around, but Dynamic finds 1 with the Conk Mine, 1 with the primary fire. Indy's going to find his opposite number here, and suddenly it's a 3-man advantage here for Kraken as they start to move their way on point. They're going to lose Dynamic, but I think now the damage has been done, and we're looking at a flip, but Disbanded did get a lot of progress under their belts.
I feel like it's almost flipped from the last round too, because that was so expensive for Kraken. They used both the Portals, the Graviton, and the Shatter to capture that point. Meanwhile, Disbanded building up to 3-4 ultimates coming in, some very powerful ones to boot. So they are looking in a good position to potentially recapture this point.
Oh, it's dueling Riptides, not quite as bad as dueling Banjos, but maybe more painful. Dynamics able to find one. Sadly, nothing out from Stone here. Man advantage initially to Kraken. Disbanded managed to equalize, and more than equalizes. We're just going to go down to K-Hana here as well. And it is a big old slugfest on the point right now, but the biggest slug coming out of this will be Disbanded as they look to flip the points.
Right, and they have the Shatter built up for next fight too. It's all they've got. They're a little behind. Dynamic swapping onto the Tracer is going to reset his economy, but Widow holding on to this Death Blossom, I feel like, for quite a while. They need to get something out of that. I don't know what's going on here.
Okay, Vanna with the Shadow doesn't look to have found too much, but defensive and offensive now off the table. Indy takes a big old pummeling on the way
there
in. Buys some attention. Widow gets into the back and finds the double, but that's now an even trade. Tears looking to try and focus down K-Hana, but they cleverly back their way around the points. Instead, we are going to see mid go down. It's 99-35, and Kraken have to secure the retake here. Choco does have the graph. They don't really want to use it if they can help it. That's going to be the kills coming through, and another flip, but Disbanded just need this one fight.
Little nervous for, frankly, both teams. Yeah, Disbanded only need one fight, but look at how behind they are in so many of these ultimates. They're catching up in a few. The sound barrier is very big. They'll both have that for this next one. But I almost want Disbanded to hold it. Build up a sizable advantage. Draw what they can from Kraken, because that's all they need to win.
Oh, amazing to get that in around the defense matrix from Ravo there. Like, that could so very easily have gone drastically wrong. 2 ults out from Kraken, but you can't argue with the level of success they found there. Desi oversteps on that one, will go down to the front line, and Stone's going to punch back immediately with a Riptide. Who's he hunting for? What's he looking for? He forces them back, and Widow just walks underneath it, taken out of the fight. Now Disbanded have a momentary advantage. Self-destruct out. Won't find anybody with that one, but having to take Choco down. It's a lot of the damage down. Shatter into the waiting shield there for Indy. Mimic's able to run him down. Des is going to fall as well. K-Hana, confident with the coalescence calming his back, means he can stay in this fight a little bit longer. It's 99-94. The flip comes through, and I don't know that Kraken can contest.
Losing Tears like that was rough. The charge on the Dynamic, he blinked into that one. That's rough. The swap to the Winston here, a last-minute stall pick, but yeah, I don't think they've got it, even with Widow taking back Kivana. Too much damage here. What can he possibly do?
Big old hitbox, continual man disadvantage, and Desi ragdolling up maximum speed away into the high ground will put us at 1-1 on Lijiang, and we get to see one more map before we get the final point outcome.
Right, and good news for Disbanded, it's the only one left. It's Night Market, a map where traditionally Symmetras have done quite well, and where Junkrats occasionally find a home. We see some swaps coming in, though of course this is Control, and those swaps can happen anytime. The Stone on the Pharah might be interesting. I don't know about Kivana on the Ball, but he is more inclined to the dive heroes. So, oh, we got Widow on the Widow.
Well, that's going to make calling a lot easier. And actually, do you know what? Kivana, if they can get to the point nice and early, and if Kraken don't have the read on that, that's a real good way to get an early advantage just with the knockoff.
Oh yeah, I mean throughout the course of any round, a good Wrecking Ball will really ruin your day on this stage. So many great boop opportunities, especially with Stone providing a little extra juice. I mean, this could still go very well for Disbanded, but this Widow is going to make life maybe a little more difficult unless they get beaten down like that. Sorry.
I mean, that's the avoided special, isn't it? It's ball and Yezen on the Pharah just dealing with any long-range hit-scan threat. Kivana runs down Tears here, and Dynamic is kind of uncontested in the back there. It's going to go down. Stone's going to get that kill, and Disbanded with an easy first captain.
Right, and Dynamic was uncontested, but Disbanded said, okay, we're fighting a 4v6. They're all the way over there. They're putting down some poke damage, but not enough to keep us from running into that front line, taking down Tears, and just winning that fight right out. Like you said, I think that first swap, Kraken swapped onto the Wrecking Ball, but I don't think they expected Kivana to be on it either, and that little extra pressure onto the Widow has really ruined their day.
Widow will just hop over onto the Sombra, finds the hack onto Stone, won't get the pick, but does get at least some ult charge out of that one, and Dynamics able to get the actual kill. Indy's res back in, but they lose Tears at the same time, and Jerry has to retreat the health back in just to keep himself alive and in the fight, and now he's in the 1v1 with Widow, which, if you receive the manual hack here, you are basically dead as Tracer.
Right, but Widow was so low, and just trying to get away invisible there.
Man, manual hack comes through onto Mimic, but doesn't stop him getting the frag out there. He's going to go now. Widow looking for TP. Thought they were going to go for the high ground fence into there. Disbanded, slowly winning this one out, but Widow will find the melee kill there onto the enemy Tracer. Mimic's fragging out, finding Dynamic, and Widow has to back out once again. Still doesn't have the EMP, and look at what Disbanded have to play with.
Oh, tons. And the Transcendence coming online as well. If they can get that before Widow builds a Transcendence, which is looking pretty likely, that can be a complete counter to that EMP, which is normally such a fight-winning ultimate. And when you're winning 1v1s like that, I feel like I haven't seen that in a very long time. Great work there from Stone.
You see one coming through from Choco, but you've already lost 2 members of your team, and you're not likely to come back from that one anytime soon, and we're getting very, very close to the last fight territory here. Kraken have to make something happen with the tools at their disposal, and it's got to be pretty much now.
Yeah, they need to move so fast. They did that to get that one pick, like you said, but it's not necessarily enough.
Well, one pick out from Dynamic, and the D-Mech with the barrage, but an answering D-Mech comes back on point to stop that. Coming through, drops the minefield, makes things that little bit trickier to keep contested. Still seeing kills start to come through here from Kraken. The question is, are they coming through quickly enough to really matter here? Dynamic now with the double. This is going to go down. The Stone comes back in on the Echo. Indy's found something here with Primal Rage. This is going to be the flip. Surely Indy with the 3K there. Absolutely massive. Bravo's going to get D-Mech, quickly throw this down, and that looks to be the flip here. But Disbanded still just need to win one fight.
Right, great work from Indy there to really come in clutch for his team. Good value off of the Primal and everything like that. But their backs are still to the wall, and they have nothing. And Jerry's got the Pulse Bomb, which is kind of hit or miss, right? But you also have to worry about the amount of pressure being placed by Stone and Happy, who are just going to be able to do tons of work in the air. Dynamic needs to keep an eye on them. That's why this Echo Swap is coming through. But that weakens your presence on the point, and your point presence right now for Kraken is everything. So they must be very, very careful with how they're doing this.
They've got to be so careful, and that is not careful enough. When you are one fight away from losing the map, sometimes you can't afford to take these big risks. And with one leg taken out from the chair already, this is where the whole thing starts to come crumbling down. Kraken's going to get demegged, and Jerry is just on a tear here. Nobody can stop this guy, and that's going to be the flip, and we're looking at a 2-1 here for Disbanded on Legion.
Right, and great pressure there to force out Widow Sombra. It didn't look like he had a translocator anywhere. He was just kind of caught out. When you're a Sombra without all your little tech tools and everything, you don't have much. And I think Disbanded did such a good job to be able to catch that. And now it's just a matter of cleaning up these stragglers to win this map.
I mean, look, I called this fight done by throwing to you about 20 seconds ago, but they kept that going. Kraken, much like Disbanded on the first round, really don't want to let these fights and these maps go any quicker than they have to.
Hey, I mean, some of the best moments in Overwatch have come from really good stalls. San Francisco, most notably this season, have just been kings of winning fights they have no business winning because they refuse to lose. And a couple of those have come at the expense of my own team. I'm not afraid to admit that. But they were also just really impressive plays. So, you know, good on them at least for trying. Some of them were really long and extended, and that's where some of those plays can start to come out. We didn't happen to see very many there, but I don't think that's a bad thing to practice. Just be good at stalling, because every now and then it's really going to pay off for you when you need it.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that one player that has the key ult, like the pulse bomb or the self-through, something that can like guarantee an advantage as the rest of you trickle back in, and that's how you win that map and how you win that fight out overall. 1-0 is the scoreline, Thibble, and I feel like in reality is a lot closer. Like each of those maps could very easily have gone just that couple of percent the other way to make that score flipped. And whilst there's no really good, reliable metric for how good a team is on the back of one map, I feel like this is a series that could really go the distance. These teams felt very close on Lijiang.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's going to be any off-rolling in this series. As fun as that was in the last one, I think we're in for a good old-fashioned slugfest. Like you said, Kraken started so strong, right, and then kept it close all the way through. Those were not one-sided stages at any point, and that makes me very excited. These good stall teams, right? The closer the map is, the more likely those scenarios come into play, and the more likely they can pull out an edge where you wouldn't expect it. So we could be in for quite the electric series as we get on to map 2.
And of course, the other thing to consider is that we have seen over the course of 3 submaps more looks than I would really expect to see from 2 teams across one map set. Like the variety on display and the quality with that variety has been really, really heartening. And I can't wait to see how the next map set really starts to feed into like how we start to shape and how we start to see the identities of these 2 teams. Because right now they are amorphous blobs of talent. Like I'd love to see what comes out of that as things start to solidify.
Right. I mean, weirdly enough, the one point we brought up, Widow's going to be on the Widow. That we had what 5 seconds of that before he was back on the Reaper or the Sombra or whatever else. You know, this might be an opportunity, again, bringing up what we talked about way early on, bringing up a Junkertown or an Eichenwald or a proper Widow map for your Widow one trick can really change the caliber of your team in many ways. You know, GE Pantheon did best when Kefri could do his thing, right? So this could be an opportunity for Kraken as we move into a game that has some longer sight lanes. It's a little less chaotic than your standard game of Control. And I think we've already agreed that this could be back and forth, but I don't know how much of that will be based specifically on that map geometry and that hero flexibility that we've already seen so much of.
Yeah, very hard to say without a little more footage on both of these teams, which is what we're hoping to bring to you very shortly. I believe we're just waiting to find out what the next map picked is going to be, and as soon as we've got that information, we'll pass that on to you and hopefully get into the map before too much longer. So, you know, with a Widow specialist in the lineup, what would you expect here? Like we've talked about in the previous round how maybe you know the pick around a Widow specialist rather than a Widow one trick can really dictate how this map goes. What would you want to see as the pick here, Phil?
So the best Widow teams have to have a composition that makes you forget that there's a Widow on the team, right? Where there are so many other pieces that you have to worry about that you can't possibly send the resources to deal with that sniper in the back line. The tank line is too aggressive. The supports are in your face too much, and they're doing too much work to keep the tanks alive. I have to deal with these other players before I can get to this pesky sniper. And in the meantime, the sniper finds a shot, kills 3 of you. That fight ends, you lose. So for Kraken, it's not just about, okay, my Widow has to do his thing. It's we have to enable him. Because a Widow on their own will never get work done. Almost never at this level. It is not enough just to be a good Widow, or even to have good positioning as a Widow. Because players know how to counter this hero at this point, right? It's a sniper. It's pretty cut and dry. If you figured it out, you figured it out. And if you haven't, well, why are you here? So for Kraken, it's not just about letting Widow do their thing. It's also about Indy's got to keep bringing out those big primals. Dynamic has to be the person they need him to be, swapping onto whatever he's about to play. Choco has been doing a pretty good job. You have to worry about some peel for Widow. And the supports need to stay alive and be in the right spot to make sure everything keeps flowing smoothly. Widow, though, actually coming out on the Tracer to start. I do like this pick. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, these are a couple of very interestingly different matchups here. And Jerry's getting a lot of very early ult charge. 1 TNT and more than a third of the way to having the bomb online is pretty great value. Ipana almost overstayed his welcome on that one, took a lot of damage, died out again, doesn't want to get caught in focusing things at all possible. High ground defense from Disbanded. You see Dynamic looking for an isolation and a pick there, but can't quite find that one. That's going to be the first pick though. Stone's going to find Dizzy. We need Dynamic to equalize now to keep him in that fight, but instead loses the 1v1. He didn't even know he was in. Stone from an off angle takes him out on this one. Disbanded looking set here to win out this first fight, and by taking the fight slowly and making sure it happened more or less under Big O's, like they've guaranteed a lot of progress here.
Right, and that was such perfect positioning and disengages coming out from Disbanded. They saw Kraken move forward so aggressively, Dynamic coming in with some honestly great shots. He pulled Ravo out of mech and almost got another pick there before just having to back away a little bit. And in the meantime, Disbanded took that hit on the chin and then came right back with another haymaker of their own. Great fight there from them.
They're going to pick up the Diva, looking to get that self-destruct online ASAP. But Kraken make themselves kind of scarce here. Not a lot of places to put this damage in. Beautiful chase there. And deals quite nicely. Echo will have the self-destruct online, chuck it in for good measure. Duplicate, and even finds Tears, makes it look easy.
Nice little stagger there. You could see, actually, Stone starting that duplication. He didn't immediately run for the front line. He made sure his back line was okay first, covered for his front line a little bit as he started to move in, and as soon as they found a target, he was there. Great communication coming out from Disbanded, perfect focus fire, and a strong use of that ultimate. And the fadeaway self-destruct was just icing on the cake.
Tasty, delicious. Sugary icing. Widow with pulse bomb won't quite. Will actually find the Jerry here. Res should still be available. Brings Jerry back in. Stone's gonna die at the same time. Keep kind of forced now to throw in the primal rage to keep this defense going. Isolates the pilot form of the Diva. Decides better off trying to deal with the Lucio. A lot of damage thrown Choco's way, and eventually they get run down out of it. But now he's gonna deal with his own mirror image coming direct at him with the primal rage. Self-destruct in over the top. We'll find the mech back. Takes a lot of damage whilst trying to remech, but is still in this fight. Has to tag back in to keep the defense going. A lot of damage coming his way, but Disbanded looking like they're starting to stabilize. They lose Mimic here, which is a lot of their additional damage being taken out of the fight. Dynamic pressured back. It's the Echo 1v1 with Stone coming out on top. Choco's there to finish up on the work that Dynamic had started. There's the Bob and Jerry. Beautiful knock up there onto Tears, takes them down into ragdoll form, but that is it. The last few meters crowned, and we get to see Street Space here on 66.
And right before Mimic died, I was about to bring up how much you can see they are centered around focusing his Discord targets. Because as soon as a Discord popped up on whatever target, you could watch Bravo instantly swap. They were very on top of that. So losing him, and not only that damage, but also kind of that internal focus that they all share, was a big loss. And almost immediately that fight crumbled for Disbanded. So keep an eye on that.
Man, what a mishmash of character models there over there on the bridge. But Disbanded coming out there with 2 picks to their name. We're looking for, well, pretty much anything here at this point, but the numbers are not in his favor, and Disbanded are going to continue the hold here for now.
We went from looking for a kill to looking for a way out, which is usually my experience playing DPS, but hey, you know, it's good to see that some of those things are parallel no matter what level of play you get to. Sometimes you just suddenly need to run away. Good ults coming online here for Disbanded, actually, so they've kind of been stymied a little bit on their defenses, but this is a good opportunity.
Oh, man. Okay. Rip on the Mimic, and then the slow stroke finds Happy. No supports means basically no hold here for this man. Stone's going to find one. We get a duplicate coming through from Stone. He's going to have to find a couple of picks here in very quick succession to really make this hold work out. Keepan's going to get focused down, and Stone is on the hunt, on the chase for these final few ticks of ult charge with the Primal Rage online, and has burned a lot of time off the clock, but it's not a fight he can win.
Right, good stall from Disbanded. The ultimate's coming online and buying them a little extra time on the defense, but not enough. And Kraken now have 3 ultimates it's looking like coming online. Strong ones too. Good zoning tools, especially. Not that they need them, because Choco was just his own zoning tool, just pushing up, putting pressure on the backline, doing tons of work. This push is continuing unabated, and they're being forced to use cooldowns, even just to get on the ultimates, just to even get on the flank.
And then he's going to use that Transcendence. Dynamic, on the other hand, comes in for Primal Rage. Indy's got one of his own. We're about to see 2 Primal Rages on the field at the same time, and it is all that little classic symbol in the kill feed for now as Dynamic and Indy get involved in action. Kraken making good use of these ultimates, and we are on our merry way to point C.
We talk a lot about shatters and other tank ultimates and just the kind of chaos they can cause, but I don't think we really emphasize enough what a good primal can do, much less what 2 good primals can do. And I think Dynamic and Indy really showed us that, because there was nothing. There is no answer to 2 giant monkeys, and neither apparently is there to Moira's orbs. Samito again slamming his desk out there somewhere.
The sheer big brain geometry of getting the orb in just the right place at just the right time secures an advantage here on the offense. Disbanded starting to surge forward. We're just going to get pressured out. Oh, that's unfortunate. Full swan right into the way. More Bravo with the defense matrix. Dynamics down here as well. So Disbanded momentarily in control of the payload.
For once, for what it feels like the first time in a very long time, honestly, they do have a pretty nice ult bank coming online here. Kraken only with the Coalescence to work with as Widow is brought down to 1 HP. Poor guy. I mean, just back up, man. Do what you can.
Bob comes out. They didn't exactly see where he landed on that one. Raven's going to trade out Dynamic for Jerry there. Both Beavers going tit for tat on that one. There's the Orb of Discord. Waiting on Choco. The chase was out there from Kipana, but decided not to keep that one going. Finds his opposite number there waiting for it instead. Jerry finds the pick onto Widow. And with one more kill, that's probably secure on the defense here, but there's a way you can stall out this fight for that little bit longer. We are now down to 60 seconds, and for Disbanded, they just want to make this as slow a push as possible. There's the pick onto Indy, and that's gotta be the reset now for Frank.
Again, you see the value that this Discord is bringing. Not that Stone wasn't going to be able to burn down a low health Winston like that anyways, but just when you see the floating purple orb, you know that anything you're going to do is going to be that much more effective. And they are all so on point with that. Meanwhile, Kraken, in the support realm at least, do not have an answer for that increased damage.
Beetle will get the self-destruct. Is there enough time left for Beetle to generate a second? Stone barely surviving that one to get back into the mech. A little more viability there, a little more survivability, but will eventually get taken out of that duplicate form, and Jerry brought back in. Looks like if we see a catch from Kraken, it's going to be into the very bowels of overtime as they start to find the kills to finally break the defensive hold on the final point of 366.
Yeah, a good sustained fight there for Kraken. A nice pulse bomb to help soften things up, but now he gets 2 kills, so nice staggers actually onto that Ash Mercy combo, which is a big portion of the defending damage for Disbanded. Happy swapping over to the Lucio, Mimic using the Transcendence just to get on point and start the fight.
Tag off briefly to bring his team through the incoming damage, waiting for them at the stall. Self-destruct into the back from Choco. Choco finds Ravo, and Jerry gets Widow, and Ravo punches back with one of his own, despite being dead himself. The blast from the grave finds DZ. Stone is still alive and starting to find cracks. He's down again. We get a Bob to even things out here, but it costs Jerry their own life. There's the D-Mech. Ravo is back on the ball and spinning to win. Pumps them up into the air as the waiting line of fire of the Bob. And this might have been at the final hurdle, just enough to disband to prevent the cap. Indy's back in, but it's Indy against the world, and he's body blocked off the cart. That's as far as it's going on the offense.
Every now and then there's a fight that's just so back and forth that you really struggle to figure out what the heck you're going to talk about there. I mean, Dynamic duplicating the Tracer, getting the Pulse Bomb kill, right? You have Widow opening that up, which I had just talked about, getting the Ash and the Mercy right away. But then Kivana comes back with a great Primal. Ravo getting the post-mortem self-destruct after he got caught out by Choco self-destruct right after ulting. There are like 18 different things that happened to make that fight go the way it did. I feel like I need to make like a PowerPoint or flowchart to be able to explain it all, and I really just don't have the time. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that was a crazy fight, and I really liked it.
What you need is the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia Pepe Silva board with all the different things that are happening and the red string between them all. That's the only way to do it.
It's one of those. I feel like a lot of people are going to be making those as we get into the off season and we start worrying about who's going where. Well, this person liked this tweet, and therefore. But in terms of a fight breaking down like that, it's frankly it's much nicer than perhaps I make it sound with my confusion, because ultimately back and forth fights are just so clutch. You have the double kills from just landing on people as Kivana. When does that happen?
It's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm a play-by-play and not a color caster, because I don't have to provide analysis. I can just make excited chimp noises, and that's my job done. On the offense here, Dive coming out, and we did briefly have a double sniper. I think Stone was just picking up the recon arrow for a bit of information. Instead, back over onto the Echo. And I'm loving the amount of Echo play we're seeing from these teams.
Oh yeah, we saw a lot of it in the last cast you and I did actually. In some trials action, we saw some Echo do some major work. So seeing it become more common now, I think is so great for these teams. Widow though on the Tracer.
I don't know how that happened, because you'd like to think Stone is working out of the effective range of Widow on this one, but let's see how this one works out. Stone should back fairly quickly. In fact, you see him popping into the there. Big dive in from Kipana, gets a lot of displacement, but overstays his welcome and receives the micro missiles to the face, which of course use the recall here, and kills are coming through again for Kraken. Looking like we're going to see another hold on the defense, at least for now.
This is such an interesting strategy to contest Stone on the Echo. Widow is just hanging out on this high ground. He's pocketed by Desi, who's hanging out in the tunnel, giving him the heals he needs to sustain against Stone on the Echo, and getting close enough to actually deal effective damage. It might change up now that they're moving into this section of the map, but that was a really interesting little strategy.
Coalescence out from Tears. Look like that might have contributed to kill onto Jerry there, but a very quick trade. Ooh, Primal Rage out from Cave Harder, and what a place to have a Primal Rage. So much potential here for environmental kills. In fact, there's two we may be on board with. It is Cave Harder who is having all the fun here right now. 3 kills in a matter of seconds, and he's not done. 13% of the way to the next Primal Rage and taking the space.
Ooh, and the man's feeling himself. You can see those little mouse wiggles. That's the, ooh, yeah, okay, that was good, that was good. On his team sheet, Kivana is listed as a Winston enthusiast, let's call it. He can play the other main tanks, of course, he does what he has to do, but Winston is really where he feels right at home. So I'm loving seeing him really feeling himself, getting in good places once he's getting them.
Go to the final one here with Selfish This is Jerry on the high ground, and with the Bob on the low ground, they're starting to equalise things out. Has to give it some space. But in the meantime, the Transcendence on the bottom of the card, which keeps his team alive for at least a little bit longer to keep this contest going. Right now, we are fighting for a handful of meters here that separate Disbanded from getting access to point B, and Kpana once more is coming through with the frags here to secure the team fight. In fact, that's 3 in a row. He will trade his life for it, but I think the damage has been done. The bleeding not stopped as we move into point B.
He's built up another Primal. I feel like 30 seconds ago he was at 15% or something. He just built that so fast. Great support, even losing Mimic early on. You saw Happy fall not far after that, but he had just enough sustain to build that up, buy a little extra time, get everybody else on the point. That was a great fight from Disbanded, and they are really feeling themselves right now.
I'm looking at Stone with this duplicate ready to go and wondering exactly what the play is going to be. It's going to be dynamic that comes out with that first pick to Winston. So momentarily, 3 monkeys, 4 monkeys on the field at the same time, everybody. They didn't say it could happen, but yet here we are. However, Kraken are the ones that are coming up first. They've clearly got the monkey advantages. Don't get the Primal Rage online, but Widow is on fire. Finding the frags. Ivana's going to go down. That's out of the duplicate now for Stone as well. And Kraken hold them off with style.
I'm going to give a Tier 1 Overwatch League meme out to whoever can do it fastest. Take a screenshot from a clip of those 4 monkeys on the field, and then juxtapose it with that cheap online ad template of has science gone too far? Do that for me, please.
I would think it's together strong, personally.
Also true, that's a good one as well. See, we're giving out some great meme education as Chaco is just going nuts.
And that is 2 for the self-destruct, but Stone and Jerry, or at least in Jerry's manservant, get a couple going in their favor. However, it looks like they might just not have done enough here. We'll see the rest come through, bring Kivana back into the fight. Stone is still just causing trouble in the bubble right now, has the focusing beam. Will find the kill there, and that's going to be Disbanded, finally wresting control of the card away from Kraken.
See, trouble in the bubble was going to be the headline if there were any positive COVID cases during the NBA postseason, but I'm liking that we're getting value out of it here.
American references.
Yeah, haha, American healthcare, very funny joke. Kraken coming online with some good ults to recontest this, though, as we get into a minute 40 left on the time code. Disbanded coming online. Look at Stone with that duplicate and Kivana with the Primal lining up again. Are we going to see another double monkey? Because I want to see another double monkey.
Not going to happen. Ending with the Primal Rage online, starts to buy some space for his team, and Kraken come out with the kills they need to secure the whole hit. Dynamic has made the swap over onto the Soldier, and of course this is live patch, this is Laser Soldier we are playing with here, so Dynamic a real force to be reckoned with.
I almost forgot about that. Even our last game played Soldier for just a minute, but we didn't really pay much attention because most of that game was over anyways. Dynamic on the Soldier, though, looks to be a bit more of a match, really trying to put some pressure onto Stone here. That said, taking down a flying Echo is very different than taking down an Echo that is duplicated into a Winston and is beating the crap out of you. Ravo, though, getting the easy. That's a big one. I feel like Ravo's really been on top of things.
Yeah, we have a really good awareness of exactly where he's going to be directing that defense matrix. Stone is on the hunt here for Widow, but gets debated by the recall. So a lot of it is going to be given over to just getting back to the position where you can use it. Still get the Primal Rage, gets one swing of the arm before being taken out of it. Dynamic with the tactical visor to take Stone out of the air, and we are now at 20 seconds left on the clock. Disbanded, they get one more go at this, and they don't really have much to work with.
Nice little stagger there too. Ravo, not much he can do. He's really just got to try and respawn as fast as he can. Mimic swapping to the Ana? I don't know about this. I would like a Lucio swap with this little time left in the bank, but hey, get what you can done, I suppose. Widow though. Sneaky.
We'll have Pulse Bomb ready to go. Probably doesn't want to stick it onto Tears, who can just fade out of the way. Probably doesn't want to stick it onto Choker, who might just eat it. No, just instead ducks out of the way, so no damage on the back of that one. Happy gets the res off, but trades his life for it. Widow in the 1v2 up on the high ground, 2 guns versus 1 speedy Joe. Gets the rundown onto Mimic. You see Givana go down. Widow needs to win this duel with Jerry, or at the very least, tie him up for that little bit longer getting in the car. This is such good tracer play coming out from Widow. Jerry didn't stand a chance on that one. Overtime burns down, and Dibble, we are tied up here. We've got at least 2 more maps coming out.
Yes, we do, and what a map that was. I feel, again, the curse of the Widow one-trick in that they're not actually Widow one-tricks. That was a great tracer performance from Widow. He locked up Jerry, and Jerry got the mega health back. So Jerry healed all the way back up to full, and then he took him down again. So great work from Widow, but not on Widow. It's, you know,
it's
we
all
take
way
what
more
we can get.
complicated than it needs to be.
Sure, yeah, the equations, the Zach Galifianakis hangover situation, that's all going on in Widow's head right now.
I see that all this time spent working as social media for Florida Mayhem has just made everything in your brain reference to some sort of meme template, is what it's feeling like.
That's disgustingly accurate, and I hate you for saying it. Thank you. It's a lot like, I think the nearest phenomenon is when you start playing Tetris a lot, and just everything's Tetris. For me, that's me with memes. Just everything. It's disgusting. I'm great with kids, though. They love it. They eat it up.
Okay, well, good to know. So, aside from that strange diversion into the mind of Thibbledork, that does put us at 1 apiece here for Disbanded and Kraken. So, we've got at least 2 more maps coming your way, but before we can bring you those maps, we are going to have to throw to a quick break just to, give our teams a chance to flex their wrists and relax a little bit. So we're going to throw to a break, and we will see you on the far side for even more Trial of Champions action.
Academy, they lay down the shatter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%.
Right now with Hydra building up to this Bear Barrage so quickly.
Oh!
It asking!
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha debajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting until it's for sure lost.
Winnable!
Hello guys, my name is SVB and you may know me as the host of the Great Overwatch Quiz.
Hammer down, Earth Shatter.
But today, you're the contestants because I've come here with some trivia questions for you. Who holds the highest score on the skee ball machine in the Blizzard World Arcade? And for a bonus point, can you tell me what that score is? Was it A, Diva? Was it B, Sombra? C, Lucio? Or D, Winston? Okay, got an answer? Well, I can tell you that it was indeed Sombra, with a score of 9,999. Now, I'm sure there was absolutely no cheating involved in that whatsoever, but that is indeed the highest score on the skee ball machine in Blizzard World's Arcade. That's it for me. Good luck to all the teams participating in Elo Hell's Trial of Champions. If you want to hear more from me, and I can't imagine why you would, then check me out on YouTube where I'm down as SVB, or Twitch where my handle is OWSVB. That's it from me, guys. Enjoy the tournament.
Tired of the competitive grind and random teammates? Want to put your team to the test against opponents of similar SR?
Go.
Ever been told to get good, but felt like you were never given the chance? Introducing our Get Good tournament, open to PC and console teams in NA and EU region. Our goal is to provide you with an environment that will push your team play and individual skills to new heights and an opportunity to make new friends along the way. Our divisions range from beginner to unlimited, and the tournament will start off with a 5 to 6 week group stage in Swiss format, ending in a 2-week long playoff bracket. You can even be showcased live as we stream matches with talented casters every week on Twitch. The winner for each division is crowned champion and will get a fancy champion's role. Get Good signups will start on October 5th, with the tournament starting on the 23rd for PC and the 24th for console. And if you don't have a team yet, but would like to experience playing in a team, fear not. Solo player signups is a team building service offered by Elo Hell Esports in preparation for our Get Good tournament. Sign up on your own and you will be put into a team of 6. Solo player signups are open right now. Go to elohell.gg/getgood for more information and to sign up for the real 6v6 experience.
So you queue up for Overwatch Ranked, only to be greeted by this, which then leads to this, and oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing? The solution? Elo Hell pickup games.
Hey, you know what? Just oh my god, it's huge! Oh no! Kill! Let's go.
Open to players of all ranks and most platforms, Pugs give you the chance to experience competitive Overwatch as it was meant to be played. Competitively.
I need help. I'm with you. Shoot. No way, dude. Go. Let's go. Nice. Good call.
Players set their icons to indicate the role they want to play, then 2 captains pick their teammates and draft the most competitive teams they can. You can also take part in our pioneering learning event, Coached Pugs. To take part, join the Elo Hell Pickup Games Discord, and be sure to read the Pug Guide and FAQ. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in-game.
Everybody, Big Hungry Phil here with a note of thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring the Trial of Champions. Want to make some extra cash? Well, earn money through Opinion Outposts by just sharing your opinion. All you've got to do is fill out some surveys. You can make money while watching streams, queuing for a game, or even waiting for your teammates to group up for one final overtime push on the point. Use Opinion Outpost to get that skin you've always wanted. There's nothing better than treating yourself to some well-deserved loot boxes after a long competitive grind. Visit the link to start making money today. Welcome back, everybody, and we are looking to wend our merry way into map number 3 between Disbanded and Kraken. Currently, 1 apiece after 2 maps, and honestly, a pretty solid hold there from Kraken on Route 66.
Oh yeah, definite. I mean, the first game was close. We kind of figured maybe Kraken start to turn this back around, just given how their comps work with their maps. And it looks like that was exactly the case. Some great compositional play coming out from Kraken, very back and forth the whole way through. But overall, their defense was pretty stout. They're in Streets phase. Strong picks coming through, strong work, really. Those guys are firing on all cylinders on that map. And like we predicted, we're in for a slobber knocker. This one's going to be back and forth all the way through, I think.
I think for me, the thing that's been kind of interesting here is thinking to our first matchup, it was very easy to go, oh yeah, this play is doing a lot of work. I feel like we're seeing everybody contributing in a very sustained fashion. Like there's nobody that is streets ahead of the rest of their team that's like permanently in the kill feed. Like everything is very evenly distributed. So, evenly matched teams, evenly matched players within their teams. Like it doesn't get a lot closer than that.
No, and frankly, you love to see it. I mean, it's great to see like the Decay style solo carry. This guy is just destroying kind of performances. But the good, consistent Overwatch, like anything else in this game, is a team sport. It involves everybody, and when you have everyone firing on all those cylinders like that and bringing something to the table that's really special, you end up with some damn good play. You've got Mimic on Zenyatta, just great Discord focus fire coming out all the way through, good value out of duplicates and primals and just anything you could think of. These teams are bringing what they've got. There's a lot on the line. It's a $3,000 prize pool and a slot in Contenders Trials, which has never happened before. So these guys want to fight for their lives and for some cash.
Well, given the way that capitalism works, the fact that you do actually need that money to survive in the system we've got, fighting for money playing Overwatch is very much in a very real way fighting for your life.
Yeah, but I try not to think that bleakly past like 6 p.m. I save my musings about being a cog in the machine for like early morning.
When you've been a cog for as long as I have, or at least I think that's what people were calling me. When you've been a cog for as long as I have, you eventually get to the point where you can't really drown out the grinding anymore. But I'll leave the depression of being an old man for another day, as it looks like we are ready to dive into our next map, and it's going to be Hollywood, our hybrid map for today.
Perhaps literally dive in. Lots of Winston play coming out from both these teams. Both main tanks seem very comfortable on the hero. I do love me a good Rhine slugfest, but the Winston 1v1 is a whole nother layer to this game. Takes me back to Apex Season 2 and 3, Miro doing his thing out there, redefining the game. Lots of World Cup games were centered around some amazing Winston play. Like some of the most iconic moments, I think, in the game are based on the back of a Winston play. So liking this, I think Indy and Kibana both have really shown us what they can do, especially with their primals, which you don't always see. Not every Winston gets the most value out of primal, but these two, specialists. They've been watching Gushwe's VODs a lot.
Started picking up tips from somewhere, and this defense, I think, shows an interesting wrinkle when you consider how much echo we've been seeing. Having the new laser beam soldier in the lineup, I think, gives a lot of additional options here for Kraken on the defense.
Oh yeah, I mean, just tons of flexibility here in terms of their rotations and how aggressive they want to be. They can rush in with the Lucio, rush right back out. And Jerry and Stone can go for some solo dives and get out with their cooldowns. Kibana as well. And you can combine all of those in such interesting and unique ways. I think great job for them on the attack. And then Dynamic and Widow just moving around, holding high ground and sightlines and stuff to help from their tanks. The fights could happen anywhere with these compositions. I love it.
A very quick take of the high ground here, and a very quick TP into the back here from Enderi. Wins the 1v1. Dynamic is now down. It's a numbers advantage with this ad. but disbanded as Jerry just tears his way through Kraken.
I mean, you 100% called it, right? Looking at these compositions, they're going to get all over the place, and it's a nice, sloppy, quick fight on top of the cafe for dominance, running into the streets phase and taking down the soldier in a 1v1 and then phasing back into the cafe, and a quick first cap for Disbanded. I think the only problem is that their ults didn't build up that much.
Yeah, it was so quick that nobody really has anything online, which is great if you're Kraken here, because the ults that you do have that are mirrored are about the same here. I'm amazed that Jerry got away with that TP. Oh, there's that new teleporter in action, that new lift even in action, right at the top of everybody on board, and Jerry focusing back down with a Wraith Form may have overstayed his welcome somewhat.
And you brought up the advantage of ult economy and how that kind of favored Kraken. It also mitigates the loss of swapping dynamic to the Echo. However, it does not mitigate the loss of losing Indy to Jerry's advance there on the Reaper.
Nah, man, and Jerry with the full force of Coalescence at his back, propelling him forward, can just terribly sway to his left. Kraken Kavana jumping forward there with Stone. And now we're going to see a lot of time burnt off the clock here, I think, as Disbanded try and hold at this one exit. We're going to lose Jerry, which is a lot of damage and a lot of sustain now gone from the team. Tears focusing down Stone with the Coalescence and driving Disbanded back with the full weight of the resurgent Kraken team.
Yeah, I mean, just a great knowledge there from Kraken of just like, okay, now's the time. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Push up right now. Let's go. Come on. We know we have the advantage. We know we have to press it. We know we can go this far with it. They're getting great value and communicating really well. Notice how their ultimates are building up. They knew they didn't have to use anything. They're being very smart about that, and it's going very well for them so far. This time bank and this offense looks really good for Disbanded.
Oh man, this is a really difficult task to try and one a Reaper as with the size of your head hitbox. Dynamic able to rate from out almost all of Jerry's death force. He gets taken out of his own ultimate there, but allows Tears to get one stick on the back there. Another duplication Stone, the stamping of the Winston again here, already 2 down for Disbanded as Stone jumps into the back and starts to apply that single cannon with a bit of melee in there for Spice into it as he tries to work his way out, knocked out of the duplicate there, but just a casual little gentle flick of the focusing beam secures them the win.
See, I want to talk about those 2 duplications because you saw very different targets and very different results. It's not always going to be that way, but I feel like in general, you're always going to get more value out of a tank. There are very niche situations where a Reaper is really good. He dropped in and was immediately covered by Choco Diva. Nothing he could do. He had to spend half of that rate down.
In fact, we've seen so many Death Blossoms here that just fail to get anything at all here. Like, it seems mostly like a tool just to say, no, this is my cart, get off it, or you'll have to deal with the Death Blossoms. Tears with the Coalescence will focus down Happy, and Kraken mount a defense.
Right. These Death Blossoms being used as fairly weak zoning tools is a far cry from the true value they could get. But frankly, I feel is a compositional thing. You have to wait for the Diva to be out of mech, and that's hard when you have Moira Lucio constantly providing heals, and her being able to move around for health packs and manage her matrix effectively. It's tough. So Reapers, duplicated or not, are going to struggle to find value in this composition, but you need them to handle the Winston. That's really what it's for. And the other Reaper.
Yeah, and Jerry surging forward, doesn't find the kill himself, but does at least make some space. Looks 1-for-1. In fact, DPS is taking out that opposite number here. This Mimic that finds the real advantage, and Disbanded with the space they've got start to creep forward 0.01 meters, and that's going to be it. 3.5 minutes left on the clock to get their way through C, and Disbanded with a big advantage right now. Choco unlikely to survive this one. That's a big stagger. Mimic still in this one, can't quite track that as optimal, but look at the space being taken here.
Right, I mean, they're going to make it all the way to this next corner that we're looking at right now, where Lucio and Echo are hanging out, which is pretty big. Not the end of the world, of course. There's still plenty of opportunities here for cracking the stage of defense, but those staggers hurt. You would rather take that fight a little earlier, perhaps, and have control of this big health pack. that Disbanded are able to work with.
And this is such a big advantage for Disbanded. They're going to see things off with the self-destruct, won't find too much, but does at the very least drag out the sound barrier from Dizzy. Stone with a duplicate, this time picking a tank, this time it's going to be the Diva rather than the Winston. Looking for somewhere to stick to find a bit of damage to this duplicate. Up it goes into the sky, but it's got a match. It's natural number coming out from Choco, and no kills on the back of either of those. Stone with the Kima is able to find Indy, and now trying to pressure down Choco, who's going. No, sorry, this is Rabo's mech with the self-destruct. It goes up high, it doesn't find anything. Choco now out of the mech. Rabo now defense matrixing all of Widow's death blossom on this one. Disbanded with numbers advantage. The respawns coming in thick and fast here for Kraken. We have seen so many self-destructs in the last 60 seconds. This is kind of crazy here.
It's weird when you think about how much more complicated it gets, where at any point you can have between 1 and 4 of a hero on the field at the same time. Like, sometimes it's easy. If there's only one Winston, there's only one Primal to talk about. But when there's 4 on the field and science has gone much too far, you really have to specify it. It gets a little tricky. I'm seeing now, I'm beginning to respect play-by-play more than I already did, which was a lot.
I cast the Flash Ops tournament when that was a thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because everybody had Echo the entire time, and everybody was duplicating each other and nanoing each other, and it was mental. Almost as mental as this, and Jerry finds the opening pick here onto Indy, and it's Cave Bardo with the Primal Rage away into the back, trying to hunt down to the but he pushes him away with the sound gun. Still on the hunt, in fact, almost all of that Primal Rage went into trying to deal with Desi, and it didn't really come up trumps. Kevana has enabled a little bit of a space buy here for Disbanded, and as Kraken start to wend their way onto the point, they're down to a 1v1 trickle. Stone giving the Reaper another go here. A lot of pressure available, looking to try and dredge up this ult charge, but nobody's there, and he will trade ult charge for finally capping the point, just shy of a minute here for Disbanded.
So that's a cap with time for Disbanded, which might make certain Kraken fans a little nervous, but that third point opened with 3.5 minutes in the bank. So honestly, good on Kraken to stall that out, to bring out, like after that first fight where they got staggered and I was like, oh no, it's not the end of the world, but they certainly would have liked that. They said, no, it's fine. We're going to make it work. Even if they cap with a little time, it'll be much less than what they started with. We're going to put together some really good fights. We're going to have some good stall. We're just going to do our best to bring that time bank down. 52 seconds, much more manageable than the 2.5-3 minutes they were looking at if they had just been bowled over there. This is a real chance. They could finish with more time in the bank than Disbanded. They could at least finish, period, to force some extra rounds. It's not hopeless. And once again, this is a very close series. I am loving it.
The word completable is thrown around a lot, but this is definitely one of the more completable maps, particularly of the hybrid and payload variants. So we may even see this go to a couple more rounds. We actually saw it go to a couple more rounds in the last series that we cast today, granted, under some slightly unusual circumstances. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Kraken at least put up a comparable time bank here, and then go down to seeing who can get what done in a minute in the third round through.
I think it's going to come down to these DPS ultimates. Widow and Dynamic need to be getting a lot of value. Not to say they weren't, it's just those are really the linchpins around which these fights are turned. Less so, perhaps, than the Self-Destructs and the Coalescences. Ooh, but the Dynamite. And Jerry, actually, this could be an interesting wrinkle. I almost didn't notice that. The hit scan on the high ground is going to provide so much damage before Kraken can even get to the point. I like this.
It's a little dumb that one TNT can get you half of the way to your ultimate. Ooh, takes the sticky bombs. Needs to be careful. Needs someone to come and give him some TLC. Hasn't got it just yet. There we go. Had to give some space for having to get up there. And Jerry abandons the high ground. And they're going to lose Mimic. And they're going to lose Stone here. This defense started off looking so good. With Jerry getting so much value already. But it feels to me like this is kind of done and dusted, and Jerry's going to come out of this with a bomb. It's just not going to be enough to make anything happen. Nice TNT splash onto Desi. Desi will get the kill, but won't survive the TNT, and that's going to be the play.
That was honestly really good on Jerry. You know, we were kind of focused on his little wild ride there, but he was bobbing and weaving and juking and doing what he needed to do. That last little kill onto Desi is nice. Not that it does much, it's just kind of pretty. And he does have Bob. That is big. It's a really nice contention tool here on the point. Stone coming in with the duplicate right after can do a lot of work. And if they sustain that fight long enough, those tank ults and support ults could come online, and Disbanded could be in for a pretty nice hold. If they can sustain that fight and get past Kraken's initial burst of ultimates that are about to come out.
We see a transition from Jerry to Muscari and Jerry in this next fight. We're going to start things off here with the Bob to buy some space and draw some focus. Then after it on to Winston, but he's trying to fight a 2v1. Immediately gets the Primal Rage online through all the splash damage and looks to try and focus down and support. Instead, retreats to try and aid out his own team here. Sees another Winston coming in and knows what a threat that is. Stone's able to get one here, and that might be enough to start to turn the tide. Dynamic's going to go down and Disbanded mounted defense.
Look, and they sustain that fight, and now they have 3 ultimates coming online. I'm actually somewhat impressed with myself. It's almost like I know something about this game or something. Kibana now coming in with the Primal Rage could start cracking things open, but they do have to remember the card.
Yeah, because Indy, of course, has the mirror ultimate here, takes a lot of damage, and because they've got the anti, has to play careful for a minute whilst his supports give him that ability to come back into the fight in a meaningful way. Lots of jumps up onto the high ground there from All Concerned, and it's time for Indy to momentarily lose his cool. The sound barrier over the top puts him at a truly monstrous amount of HP, which buys him all the world, and that is a heck of a death blossom. But that might be the most impactful death blossom we've seen so far this game. Forced to Wraith form out because Injeri was there with the boosted shot to try and take him out. But this has been a good amount of time burnt off the clock. Even though Kraken won that fight, it took them a long time to deal with who was on the card.
Right, Disbanded made them pay for it, and now they have another Bob. It's almost getting back into that cycle of use the Bob to sustain, build the other ults, and then use those, and then you have a Bob again. It's a great tempo for Disbanded, and they're pushing the advantage with the Nano Boost right now. So I like this is a good forward push for them. Okay, I see what they're going for there. I don't know.
Pretty good there from Desi. Boops the Bob around the corner to mitigate a lot of its damage, but 2 ultimates used there just to buy space. Indy with the Nano Boost takes a lot of space, and then the Bob amplifies that even further. Stone has to duplicate, and, well, hell surprise, we get another scientist on the field. Disbanded behind the kills there. There's the Primal Rage from Stone, and it's time to juggle an Irish scientist up against the walls of a movie set, which is not a sentence I ever anticipated saying.
Overwatch has a funny way of making a lot of those sentences that have never been uttered by a mortal human being before, and I really love it for that reason. Great primals again coming out. We talked about Ravo with the stall on that last one, but ultimately it actually came up pretty big for them because they were able to stall it really just long enough to get everyone comfortably set up and then start that next fight.
Circuit taking a lot of damage. Chokes in the self-destruct, nothing doing but a shiny, nice new multi-billion-dollar mech for the troubles. With him being pressured here by the Primal Rage of Kevana. Stone finds the rundown with a focusing beam. Kevana did the bulk of the work, but it's the finishing beam that really couldn't take that. If he punches back, but Kevana's going to go down. Dynamic now over on the Tracer, looking to run down Ravo, who's not at much HP and still trying to keep this going. Sound barrier out from Desi. It's an aggressive one. It didn't hit too many, certainly didn't do too much of note. Dynamic with 27 HP and a dream. Tries to make a health back, but it's get back into the fight and just, it's a Hail Mary, lot of the pulse from right into the waiting more of Ravo with defense matrix.
Right, I feel like Dynamic had someone low like 4 times, and there was just too much healing coming out. So good on Disbanded's healers there to really keep an eye and keep people safe that were being focused. Because a Tracer uncontested will rip through your switchies unless they have the healing to out-sustain that damage. So strong work from them. Good use of the Valkyrie from Happy to kind of cover everybody, and in Jerry getting this kill on the Desi. I mean, could be the beginning of a nail in a coffin situation for Disbanded.
It's actually really good space taken from Kraken. They knew that the res was a possibility there, and just by camping the body, they secured themselves a momentary 5-6. Kivana's like back for too long. In fact, you can just see his wireframe there on the right side of the screen, and it's going to be Stone taking up momentarily Monkey duty here. Okay, there's the Death Blossom out. I think a lot of that went into defense matrix and Bubble, so good try, but no banana so far. of Primal Rage now back into Scientist juggling territory. Puts them up on the rooftop into the line of fire of, well, pretty much every mobile DPS that is currently in the game. Indy at low HP, desperately searching for this pick, but instead just finds Stone with a primary fire. And that's going to be it. Nice Primal Rage here at the back end of the fight to just buy some space. Desi goes down, and this is the hold on B. But Disbanded moving forward to match points.
Man, these Streets phase holds back and forth and back and forth. I am liking this quite a bit. Just so many strong uses of ultimate. Like, there have been very few ultimates, a couple, but still very few where I've been like, maybe they hold that. There have been so many where they're getting kills or getting the right zoning or getting the right support out of these ultimates, which is a very important skill in a game like this, where ultimates can be fight change. Just one can be so fight changing. So just great discipline and communication coming out from both teams to make sure those ults are getting value and to make sure that they're engaging and disengaging in the right places given their compositions. Just some strong macro play coming out. Very nice.
This has been such a back and forth series. We're now at 2-1, and I'm starting to get the feeling this might be going the distance. Like, this is a whole different ball game to our first series of the evening, which was such a clean 3-0.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we are definitely on opposite ends of the spectrum, I think, from that last game, which is not a bad thing. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. You know, we're on an opposite spectrum from that game. I wouldn't mind a map 5, though it is very late for you over there in
It's actually very early, unfortunately.
Sure. Yeah, however you want to call it. For me, it's a nice, reasonable hour. I'm approaching dinner time, I think, but time doesn't really exist anyways. It's all fake. It's still March, you know, and it's March 2020, and we're all just hanging out and getting ready to go to the airport and do whatever it is people did back then. Anywho, this has just been a great game. I don't know what map we're going to next yet, but that might actually be we're going to Volskaya. Thank you, production. Ooh, wait, that's interesting now that I actually think about it. Great place for snipers. Great place for Widow to actually play Widow for once in the series. But also a good place for some dive tanks, a good place for these tracers and reapers to get some value, some Sombra as well. Lots of possibilities here on Volskaya. It's a great map. I know we rag on 2CP, but Volskaya, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, of the 2CP maps, it does feel like certainly as far as point A goes, there's a lot of options, and there's very seldom a shutout on point A. I think point B, a little harder to take. We frequently see teams stall out there. So we've been talking about going to a map 5. There's a world here where we get a map 6 if we get a draw here on Volskaya, which, given how close these two teams have been, I know I'm sorry I had to do it to you, but
why did you speak that into existence just now?
Look, it's fine for you. It's nearly 3 a.m. for me.
This is like page 1 of the Caster Cursed Handbook that they hand us when we start this job. It's like, don't speak things into existence you don't want to exist, right? The casters didn't want that 7-map clown fiesta between Houston and Boston, but they started talking about it after the first draw. And what happened?
I maintain that was one of the most entertaining series of that season.
I maintain that it wasn't. I was in pain. I was there. Gandalf, 3,000 years ago, in the before times.
I agree to disagree.
Certainly.
I'm saying it's a possibility. I'm looking, like, when you see me do this, that's me looking at the time on my computer going, oh boy, I'm usually in bed for like 5 hours by this point because I'm an old man. But you know, I'm willing to dig deep and make the sacrifice for Overwatch like this. It's been really good so far, and I can't wait to get into map number 4. In fact, look, speaking of speaking things into existence, here we are, Volskaya Industries. We are at match point even. Disbanded need to win this one, and they'll take the series. Kraken looking to equalize here and take us to that decider map. And as previously discussed, I'm not going to mention the third possible option.
Yeah, we don't talk about the third possible option. It's late. I would like to eat dinner at some point, and you would like to go to bed.
Yeah.
But anything is possible, I suppose. If we must bring it up, I suppose that is our duty, to bring up the things that can come up. But we also like to talk about the things that are. So let's see what heroes these people are rolling out with on the defense, at least. More Ash Echo, I'm a fan of it. More of the same, really. Though Mimic has swapped from the Zen that we saw on Volskaya to the Ana. This is a more common pick on Hollywood for him, for sure. I'm okay with this. I think just there's so much high ground control that heroes like Ana are going to get a lot of value, especially when Indy has so clearly committed to running the Winston over the Reinhardt that we saw, perhaps, on Lijiang. So, fine by me. Widow on the Widow. This is, of course, the attacking composition. Who knows for sure? But if ever he was going to start pulling it out, Volskaya would be the map to do it. Could get some interesting sightlines for sure as we open things up.
I mean, and it gives you the immediate advantage over Injury if you can actually get your shots and you can find those lines in onto the enemy team. So let's see what Widow on the Widow has in store for us here today. Seems to take an early forward position here and hopefully report some information back, but that Mercy Beam is a clear giveaway that somebody is being pocketed over there in the right room, and just by being there on the low ground, Widow's able to, well, he will take, I was going to say, he's claiming a lot of space there, but being able to take Jerry out of the fight nice and early. Indy gets the equalizer. Surprised we've not seen the res come through here from Happy just yet. Widow finds Mimic as well up onto the high ground. Nice positioning on the res there from Happy. Nice dive onto the high ground as well, but I kind of think the damage has been done here. This pick has been phenomenal for Kraken.
I agree, and the reason why you were asking about why the res didn't come through for that first pick onto Injeri, it didn't because Dynamic went in and carved the two of them apart, forced the Mercy to back away as Widow got that kill, and then she couldn't get back to get with the res, to make the res happen, excuse me. She was able to do so for the Ana, but by then, like you said, the damage had been done. So great job from Widow and Dynamic tag teaming to pull that duo apart and make life easy. I was actually going to talk about how Widow is fighting a hill, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. Goodness me.
I was just thinking, like, that might have been a little bit early on the sights there, but Mimic, I think, it went on for so long that Mimic just forgot there was even a thing he had to worry about anymore. Dynamic is now on the hunt, forces out the recall, but has to somehow wend their way in between two supports and a Tracer. Won't find the pick, but we will see Tears able to line up one pick there. Dynamic still on the hunt in the background, and honestly just flying up space, taking up attention. Tears up onto the high ground, dodges his opposite number, and it is now a full-on brawl in this tiny space of a point, but disbanded looking to mount the hole.
I have no idea how he managed to live that long. I don't know how the game mode suddenly swapped to Tiny Overwatch for a second and then swapped back, but, okay with it. Very even in ultimates here, though. Disbanded have a slight edge with the nano boost. Widow coming online with the sights soon, but I'm curious to see, a great opening pick there, obviously, with the sights coming online for Widow. I'm curious to see how much value he can get fight to fight, especially as Disbanded kind of start to get his number on where he's positioned, how he's approaching these angles. That could be very different for them as this fight goes on. They might get the down.
Oh, man, Widow was just very close to getting those sights online for a second time, but gets dove by Kavana, who goes full primal rage on him and wants to get this DMX as well. Gets them into one, doesn't quite get it. So close.
That would have been huge for them. Chucko would have either had to go run off the map or swap and lose that ultimate, which I assume he takes the former because that's a big one to lose, but still, that would have been a lot of time lost, so good on them for getting back inside the line. Great anti from Indy, or on Indy, but now he uses the prime.
We get a nano boosted D.Va, which is not an option you see all that often. The Mimic's going to pay for this one as well as going to die to primal rage here. Rabo actually had the ultimate online and ready to go. From out, and Jerry's going to deal with Widow, and that might mean that Disbanded gets a hold on to most of what's left of the Ultimates. Happy's going to use the Valkyrie here, keep themselves in the fight that a little bit longer, and that's going to be the hold here. A couple of minutes already burnt off the clock.
Kind of an aggressive Valkyrie there. I suppose I cursed it last map by saying most of these ultimates have been pretty good. That's definitely one I might have held on to if I were them. But Kraken also used a lot going into that fight. Started with the Primal, had to use it because of the Nano. Great job from Mimic. Comes in with the Duplication and the Pulse Bomb that also I don't believe got very much. Disbanded are hanging on to stuff pretty well. Now a Duplication.
Yeah, Stone with the Control-C, Control-V this time on the Winston, already more than halfway to the Primal, but devoid of targets to generate that last little bit of ult charge in. Now has to be careful because there is a self-destruct in play. Just stop short of the D-Mate there from Choco will find Happy, and Kivana with another Primal Rage here, jumping Anna away into the corner, passes the Winston like ships in the night, and trying to get that final work down onto the Lucio through the passive healing, and outwards, you know what, over and done. Kivana gets the work down, no percentage gained here for Kraken.
Great focus and discipline from Kivana. Easy to get distracted by the big glowing monkey passing by you, much like a ship in the night, as you said, and understand that Desi is really the one enabling Indy to move forward with such aggression. Separate them, take the Lucio down, and suddenly he's not much of a threat. And the rest of your team can take care of him perfectly well. And that's an easy fight winner for Disbanded.
Oh,
and a stick from a Jerry.
Early stickaroo, and on the only member of Kraken who had an ultimate as well. I mean, there's a little bit of me, like the little bit of Lucio play that is in me is like, oh, maybe he could have got the beat off, but no, that would have been an immediate dead in the middle of a bounce.
Yeah, that is what the old guard calls an Ajax beat. We would not want that. Sorry, buddy. I know you hate people calling it that, but that's just kind of where we're at in the game. So Desi maintaining his head, good on him. And then Stone going down early. Okay.
I mean, look, whilst you're giving you another, all you're getting from me is ooh, and die, don't die, or survive. Sangberry now out from Desi, glad he didn't use the right the whole bump. Now to boost on to Kivana, and we got 3 Winstons on the field at the minute as Dynamic takes the duplicate here as well. Kivana getting very close to having their own Primal Rage in the fight, and just phenomenal tracking there from Kivana. Getting Dynamic with all of their mobility in the air was phenomenal.
Kivana has had a lot of amazing fights, but that was probably one of the best. He knocked the Ana off the map kind of to start, or I think both of them ended up falling, I wasn't quite sure. But as her soundbite played, just loudly in my ear, I was like, oh man, we're in for one of those, aren't we? And just Kivana putting on a clinic. And of course, as a Primal, and lining up with Stone, we might see another triple monkey potentially coming on the field, as Indy also builds his Primal.
Well, we really need that for every quadruple monkey on the field is a victory for science and a vanquishing of the forces of evil. Kivana body blocks Desi nicely, but he has now given over a couple of kills. He does have the Primal Rage, but very low, and the second tick is going to go over now to Kraken. So just go in over the top. Bravo. Jerry in the back line looking to work down and die. Dynamic Stone with a big duplicate onto the Tracer here. Should get a pulse bomb nice and quick. Finds the recall. There's the pulse bomb. Going to chuck it somewhere, but he finds the stick around the defense matrix. Has a second one. Self-destruct out, and Stone just agilely ducks his way around the high ground and avoids it. There's a big anti-nade onto Kraken. Winston back on the point here, Kivana looking to cause some trouble, almost gets the D-Mech there. In fact, is the D-Mech onto Choco care of Mimic, and with the respawns coming in so heavily for this bandit here, this might be where we mount the defense. We'll have Indy back now in on the wrecking ball, very hard to dislodge, but as the rest of his team falls around him, the focus fire comes in towards him. It's now down to Dynamic. He's back in on the Winston. He's about to get the Primal Rage alive, but he gets taken out of the duplicate form. And this is going to be the last desperate cries of this team fight as the sweep comes through onto Widow. Desi somehow gets the beat off the little hop onto that race section in the ground. But that's going to be it over and done by the time for it to get back in. But it's all about the focus fire here. There's no surviving the onslaught.
It's these stall teams, man. They're so good at this. I don't know what fates aligned to get these two amazing stall teams against one another. But these last little bits, they're so tenacious. They refuse to give in, even 1 or 2 heroes at a time, especially given that fight was so decided by its tracers, all 3 of them. Fast pulse bombs just bouncing around, getting picks back and forth. Overtime spawns taking into effect, swaps onto the wrecking ball and everything. Like that fight really had it all. That's another Stefan skit for the SNL fans out there. Just so back and forth. Again, I feel like I keep saying that about all these last minute fights on all of these maps. These guys refuse to give an inch to one another unless it is ripped away. And that is just glorious.
I feel a little bit like this current patch, this current meta for Overwatch is one of the fastest in terms of actions per minute, like the number of things you have to track and keep in your brain and understand that are off cooldown. I feel like it's never been higher. Like, even Goats was not as quick as some of the stuff that's going on today.
No, and we talk a lot about how Goats really changed how gamers see this game and how they understand the core concepts of the game, cooldown management, ult combos, and things like that. But this new series of metas that has occurred this year has really forced players to think about the game in an entirely different way. League of Legends has a very similar history of just gradually things that were once very complex become normal and standard. And Overwatch has that evolution as well. These guys can do things that other teams years ago would never have dreamed of as easily as you please. And it is made for some advanced... Look at that!
That was phenomenal. Such good coordination. The sticky bomb's coming in to finish him off. And Stone can just kind of relax here. Like, he's just chilling. He doesn't care. He's like, oh, cool, like, we've won this fight. I'm just going to take a minute to rest my wrists, I guess.
Hey, getting that little mid-game stretch in is pretty nice sometimes. You do what you can. Stay fresh, stay limber, and if you don't need to be doing the work, why do the work, right? Work smart. And these guys, I mean, that was clinical. 6 minutes in the time. 6 minutes!
Oh. Man, Kraken might as well not have been on the point for how quick that was capped.
They had 6 minutes to cap. 75.5%. They have 6 minutes to do that. I don't know. We're talking about some crazy, never-before-seen holds. Let's talk about this one.
Oh my god, that's it! That's it! Surely there's no coming back from this! The D.Va, the Tracer, the Echo, now down and out! They have walked onto the point, stuck their flag right into the ready and waiting soil, and now are just trying to evict what is left of the locals that were there when they arrived. Kehava into the back, focused down, and maybe I called this too soon.
2 CP low.
2 CP low. Oh, it's a big EMP. There's the bomb. No kills, but a lot of space gain here. Indy now down. Gonna buy time for Kayvon to get back in. He's gonna have to have a rage within this fight. He has duplicates from Stone. Gonna self-destruct. Everybody momentarily makes themselves scarce. Stone still flying. Frag, even around all this spacing. Stone looking for a bigger bomb here. We'll find Indy, and again, look at the numbers here for Disbanded. Kraken are reeling here. The sound barrier out from Desi. It finds Dynamic and buys time to get that duplicate off, but he couldn't generate the red. He couldn't generate the self-destruct. One to avoid the close bomb from Widow, but I feel like it's all over from Kraken. These are stall heroes, and we still have 4 minutes, and just a handful of percentage left to gain here. That is it. What a thundering offense from Disbanded.
That was another example of phenomenal stalwart coming out, but there was too much time, too many ultimates, too many early picks for that to work. In another world, with 2 minutes less on the time bank, perhaps 2 or 3, hopefully, and not if they didn't lose those first couple people very early on in that fight, that could have gone back. They could have held and maybe had to go again, obviously, but at least held that first time. But even though that fight took 2 or 3 minutes fully, there was no getting past those first picks. There was no recovering, despite the picks from Widow on the Tracer, despite the stall from the Wrecking Ball, and just the general layering that both of these teams are really capable of on points like this. There was no getting past that initial hurdle. So well done from Disbanded. That first point cap was, they were literally standing there. It was so fast. You know, like, that's something you cannot allow if you want to bring this to a map 5. And now that's going to be something to review for Kraken. They're going to want to go back and look at that footage.
Yeah. I feel like at least part of that is down to the fact that the D.Va was demeched so late into the cap on point A. It meant that, like, you didn't get that quick reset that you get from getting the kill, and they were just able to snowball in on the back of that. And man, Disbanded, they smelled the blood in the water and, against all common sense, swam towards it. But guys, that is bringing us very quickly, very closely towards the end of our evening today. But before we go, we do have the matter of the MVP of the match. And Thibble, whereas I could make a good guess in the last match we had, I wouldn't know where to start picking an MVP for this one. So it's not going to fall to me. It's going to fall to chat. So, guys, there's going to be a poll coming up in chat for you to decide who your MVP is. We're going to throw to a little bit of a break while we give you the opportunity to vote. So make sure your vote is heard, and we'll see you after the break.
Reversing personality. Echo hey there. Overclocked and on fire. Vers back. Hello. Focus my target. Nail them all.
Welcome back, everybody, and I'm glad I haven't had to make the decision. I think a lot of very strong candidates for MVP coming out that round from Disbanded, and the decision you've made is Ravo, the diva/off-tank player for Disbanded. So, Ravo, welcome and congratulations. How are you feeling after that win?
Feeling great. Glad to see that the team was in high spirits today. Glad we got the win.
Good to hear. Good to hear. How do you manage the chaos of a game like that, where there's 4 monkeys on the field, or 3 tracers, or however many divas, and you kind of have to keep an eye on it all as this diva specialist? Like, what's going through your brain?
It's extremely difficult. You just take it play by play, and you have to analyze everything that's going on in this situation. And then from there, I determine whether I have to help out my main tank or if I have to peel. If you guys are spectating me, you can tell it was pretty chaotic on my view, trying to figure out which side to go for.
I mean, I've got to be honest, it was pretty chaotic everywhere we were looking. That was one of the highest actions per minute I think I've ever seen in a game of Overwatch. So it was, good work on keeping track of it all, because I sure as heck couldn't.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So interested to know what sort of preparation you've done coming into this, because Disbanded, not a name that I'm particularly familiar with from tier 2, tier 3. So how long have you guys been working at this, and what was your game plan coming in?
In terms of working for tournaments, we've been a team ever since February, and we haven't had such great names because our ranked MMR is quite lower than what we scrim at normally, which is 4.4, 4.5. But I'm glad that we're getting to this opportunity to use this as a pedestal to show us what we're truly made of, because we have a lot of passion here. Scrimming 4 or 5 times a week, VOD review, just getting our name out there is priority for us.
I mean, you've kind of answered the question right there, but beyond winning, what's the big goal coming into this tournament? Like, you guys aren't an Hour Zero or some other big name that we've maybe heard in some other tournaments, but like, you guys have shown a pretty tremendous game here today, and there are plenty of opportunities to do that over the next couple of weeks. What is your guys' overall goal coming into this tournament?
Our overall goal is just to have fun, and most importantly, like I said earlier, to make a name for ourselves, because there's plenty of teams out there that have a lot of egos, don't think they want to scrim us. You know who you are. But Yeah, that's about it.
Ooh, I like that. I
We
like
are,
that call out.
so close to a call out post there. I think we just skirted past that one.
Hey, the tournament is young. This is day one. I'm sure it will come, especially if this team keeps going like I think it will, because man, you guys put on a clinic.
So I think I've got a follow up question that maybe gets us slightly close towards that call out post. Kraken, another name that we're not that familiar with. Looking at who else is in the tournament, who are you really looking forward to taking on?
I don't have any specific teams, but I would really enjoy to get some more tier 3 experience. I know Lunaris, I believe, is in our pool, so that's something that we could look forward to.
That'd be a good one.
Looking to getting like a lot of practice in.
Sure. Yeah, this is great. This is better than scrims for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, great experience for you guys. I love the opportunity this provides to teams like yours who have some stuff in the bank ready to go. They just need the place to show it. So I'm very glad we could help you guys out with that today and kind of show off what you guys are really capable of. Because man, this is a great game.
We appreciate you having us.
Not at all. So, Ravo, we're going to let you go back and celebrate with your team very shortly. But before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or specific thanks or anything? The floor is yours.
I want to say that I don't think I should have gotten MVP. I think Stone's kind of a crackhead. Really crazy. Shout out to staff, Ken Lee, you know who you are, and my mom, who's the biggest supporter. It's been a very tough year for us, and COVID made it even worse, but, I'm here to make her proud.
Well, you definitely did that today. Thank you again for joining us, Ravo. Wonderful to have you, and enjoy the victory.
Appreciate you, boys.
Yeah, thank you, Ravo.
Very kind. Again, friends and enemies of Twitch, this is getting very, very close towards the end of the broadcast here today. We do have a few more messages to come your way, and it would be remiss of me not to give one final shout out to, of course, our wonderful sponsor here today, Opinion Outpost. Thibble, say you were getting close to dinner time and fancied something fancy to eat, but you just missing that last little bit of money that you really afford. That I don't know, what do Americans eat? Cheese?
Yeah, mostly cheese. This is getting a little too real with the whole financial comments. I'm feeling this deeply. This is very immersive for me right now.
It's good that you're feeling this deeply because it means that this is really going to stick with you. If you would like a little bit of extra money in your pocket, really easy way for you to do that is just log on to Opinion Outpost. Earn money just by giving your opinion. And you can do this in your downtime. If you're watching a stream, if you're waiting for that 25-minute hour DPS queue to finally pull fruition, so you can finally feed your brains out to your heart content, then you can just log into Opinion Outpost, spend that time gainfully earning money to really contribute towards getting that cheddar.
Man, now I just want cheese. I guess I'm just gonna have to load up Opinion Outpost and start making a little money because now I'm hungry and it's late. And that was a great game, but it went on really long, and I am ready to eat. So yeah, I'm gonna go load that up right now. In fact, let's get it done.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, yeah, again, Opinion Outpost is who you're looking for on that one. But of course, this is not it for the Trial of Champion. That would be rather disappointing for it to be 2 games. So let's have a look at what is coming up tomorrow, Thursday, October 15th. And the battle of the logos on that first game.
Oh my.
Something to behold. Ignition versus the Rolling Ronalds, followed by UDG Gaming versus Sued by Shoes Money Crew. I mean, Greb's Money Crew. So yeah, should be a couple of interesting games. Ignition, definitely a name that I recognize. Rolling Ronalds, maybe not quite so much, but on the basis of their logo game alone, I'm interested to see how they can do.
They remind me of Tier 2 Drama Alert Nation, which is good or bad, depending on how you look at it. I also like that they just MS painted Grebs over shoes. I respect that as an aficionado of MS Paint myself. I can respect the sheer MS Paint ripoff logo. I'm all about that.
You heard it here first, guys. Florida Mayhem memes are made in.
All right, okay, cut the camera. No. That's not.
Okay, guys, we're gonna let you get on with your days. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's been an absolute treat to bring you these games. Thibble, any words to leave people with before we sign off?
Man, Tier 2 and Tier 3 and all these little tiers underneath Overwatch that often get swept together or aside. still make some fantastic content. Like, we love the Overwatch League. We love the production value and the polished, like, pizzazz that's provided there. But there's nothing better than just a wacky game of off rolls or a super close game with teams that just love stalling against one another and just knocking each other every single fight. This is just a first day, mind you. This is a 2-week shenanigan. Phil and I will be back on Sunday for the winners finals at around the same time. But between now and then, there's going to be tons of fantastic games like the ones you've seen today. So please keep tuning in. Keep supporting Tier 2. There are so many of these events. They need your view counts added on. They need you in chat. If there are donations to do, they need the donations. If there are sponsors to plug that, we get benefits for, perhaps, if you look into them, we need you to be doing that, because that keeps the scene alive. That keeps us going. It keeps these players going, and it keeps this community thriving. So keep coming back, and so will we. Thank you very much for being here today.
I really asked for a couple of words, not a book, but thank you anyway.
I am a history major. This is how it goes.
That explains. Okay, guys, we are definitely going to wrap it up here. So thank you very much for joining us, and tune in tomorrow for hopefully more of the same.
They lay down the shatter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%.
Right now with Hydra building up to this Bear Barrage so quickly.
Oh!
It asking!
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha de abajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost.
Winnable!
So you queue up for Overwatch Ranked, only to be greeted by this, which then leads to this, and oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing? The solution? Elo Hell pickup games.
Hey, you know what? Just what we're doing.
Oh my god, it's huge! Oh, no! Kill! Let's go!
Open to players of all ranks and most platforms, Pugs give you the chance to experience competitive Overwatch as it was meant to be played. Competitively.
I need help.
I'm with you.
Shoot.
No way, dude.
Go. Let's go. Nice. Good call.
Players set their icons to indicate the role they want to play, Then 2 captains pick their teammates and draft the most competitive teams they can. You can also take part in our pioneering learning event, Coached Pugs. To take part, join the Elo Hell Pickup Games Discord and be sure to read the Pug Guide and FAQ. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in game.